All right, here we go on a Tuesday. It's Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you on 96.5. The Fan coming up in about a half hour. We'll talk to the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, our regular visit with the GM. A lot to get into with him. We're down the home stretch of this season and chasing a wild card spot. Hopefully a division title in reach still.
3.5 games now. Again, not out of the question, not something I would predict to happen for the Royals, but you certainly can't still rule it out. Unfortunately for the Royals last night, they lost their game against the Yankees, and the White Sox didn't do us a favor. They did what they do best, lose.
I'm stunned the White Sox, who are not going to win 40 games this year.
They might not win 35. There are 33 games. I can't even guarantee you 2 wins for that loser franchise.
I am so stunned that the White Sox, who have won 33 across an entire season to this point, were not able to get a win against a really good Guardians team. I'm
stunner.
shocked.
Stunner of the century. Although, you know what? They've been good against the Guardians this year. I told you, all I want them to do is get one game out of the series. Just scratch out one for me, Chicago. An oops, error, accidental home run, blind squirrel finds a nut situation. Just do me the favor of getting one against Cleveland and then maybe one against Minnesota later in the year.
You guys can hit us up on the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. I think Drew avoided what would have been another bad day to start the week. Our Guillotine League, thanks to our listeners that are in that, by a point or so, Drew survived.
Not even a point, it's like point.
What was a point or so? So yeah, it was less than that. Drew survived in our Guillotine League, so someone has to be eliminated week one.
I found a way to stay alive.
It was not any of us. It was a listener that got shopped, avoiding disaster in week number one. So congrats to those of you that have moved on to week two.
Sorry to the one guy who didn't.
Yeah, he was tweeting at us a little bit. He had a rough go with Ayuk and Kittle not having the biggest of nights. We will talk a little bit later on this hour about Monday Night Football, what we saw from Rodgers, and something that I think has to change in the NFL. And at one point, some of you would have said maybe it didn't matter, but I think it does in 2024. We'll explain what that is a little bit later on this hour. But let's start with the Royals and last night's frustrating loss. I thought Brady Singer was fine. I thought overall, obviously, they jumped on the Yankees early. Tommy Pham made something happen. They had some errors in the field, did the New York Yankees. But ultimately, the bullpen. The bullpen had an issue for the first time in about a week. If you take a look at how the bullpen had performed before last night, they actually were in the middle of a really good stretch.
Sure
But
were.
yesterday, that's where the blame lies. And the question I have out of that is we're getting towards the end of the season where they have a 94%, 93% chance to make the playoffs, as a wild card at least. What's that bullpen going to look like come playoff time? We know the locks in the bullpen. Like we know Urseg and Long and Bubic, and I think Lynch and Schreiber are locks. Maybe you disagree on the last two. The first three we all can agree on. Urseg, Long, and Bubic are locks. I'm assuming a 7-game series. If we're talking about the first series, maybe it's different. But do you disagree? Urseg, Long, Bubic, Lynch, Schreiber to me are locks.
Those are in.
Okay, so then who are the final three arms? It's a group of either Marsh.
Singer?
These are the possible candidates. Marsh, Hernandez, Harvey, MacArthur, Lorenzen, Singer in a 3-game series and wild card round. And Harvey hasn't been healthy, so I don't even know if he's available at this. He might. We'll ask JJ.
Is he going to come back this year at this point?
That's what we'll ask.
This is the longest hamstring injury in the history back spasm injury in the history of the universe.
Backs are finicky, though. You know that. I mean, there's someone listening right now, and I fortunately, not yet. At some point, I'm sure I'll have back problems. But you know, anybody that's had back problems, you always hear from them. They're like, man, it's just not something.
It does seem like the worst kind of problem. And I'm coming from a person who has a number of medical maladies, not back-related issues, and somehow they seem better than the others.
Imagine having back problems and you're trying to
throw
pitch,
a baseball 95 miles an hour. I understand that. In an ideal world, Hunter Harvey is one of the people that we rely on in this situation. But for the first series, I don't know why you wouldn't just assume Brady Singer's out of the pen. Because Brady Singer's a good enough pitcher, and this pen is not good enough to not think Brady Singer should pitch for your team. And I'll be honest, in a playoff series, and this is not a knock, I thought Brady Singer pitched fine yesterday. But in a playoff series, it's hard not to say you'd trust Waka more. He has pitched in some massive games.
He's also just been better the last 6 weeks.
He has. And so it is hard to imagine a world in which I would convince myself that if they had it's 1-1 in a series and in the third game of the wild card series, who do I want? on the road, facing the lineup, it's probably Walker. Now, I would say that might depend on righty or lefty, depending on what the lineup looks like, because I do think if it's a lefty-heavy lineup, then it's definitely Walker. But if it is more of a righty-heavy one, I could talk myself into Singer, and that's certainly capable, because that home run he gave up yesterday is the same thing as all of Yankees home runs. That thing looked like it traveled 200 feet. That's a fly ball to left field. Yeah. Oh, no. The one off of MacArthur. Oh, that one wasn't.
That was gone in every ballpark.
Hold on. I wasn't talking about that home run.
that home run in every ballpark.
That was a home run in the Polo Grounds for Detroit in the 1900s, okay? That one was gone.
Yeah.
But the one that was hit off of Singer was not. The bullpen stuff is tough, because I would say the ones you mentioned, Urseg, Long, Bubic, Lynch, and Schreiber, I'm in.
Yeah.
Singer would be my next guy, and then I would hope it's Harvey and I don't hear me out, I would go MacArthur. And you're going to say, how could you say that to me today? How could I say this to you today? Is because what I keep hearing about MacArthur is that he's inconsistent. That's actually wrong. MacArthur is incredibly consistent. What MacArthur has done literally all season long since like April, May 1st. Let's take out the first month of the season. May 1st is go 9 consecutive scoreless outings, or give up 1 run in 9 outings, and then get his ass shelled. Real quick, here he is from May 7th, his first appearance in May. He allowed 3 earned runs. You're like, oh, God, what happened, man? Then 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 4. Got his hammered again. Then he gives up 0 4 straight times. 3. You're like, what happened? Then he gives up 0. Not kidding. 10 straight times. Gives up 1, gives up 2 more zeros, then 5. Then he gives up 3 the following outings. So he has 2 bad outings. Then all of August, Gold, he gives up an earned run in just 2 appearances. He has a 1.35 ERA from August 2nd to September 6th. So 12 outings, MacArthur rolls into the game and gives up a 1.35 ERA with 16 strikeouts in 3 innings. Then what happens? Shelled for 4. The reason why you notice MacArthur more, and I'm not saying he's done great. I'm just saying why I put him in the bullpen, is that he's capable of 10 consecutive scoreless outings. Mm-hmm. The reason why you notice him more is when MacArthur loses it, he gets blasted. Like when MacArthur's bad, they just lose the game. Game's over. MacArthur comes in and he doesn't have it that day. Game over. Royals lose. That's why it stands out as being so just like.
Yeah, we've had this conversation 6 different times throughout this season. For me, it'll be determined by whether or not Harvey's back is healthy. Is he pitching because to me he has to come back before the end of the regular season for me to put you your first time back is not going to be in the playoffs. So is he available in the next, 10 games? 10 days, essentially, is he available in the next 10 games? Can he get an outing out of the pen to where you feel good about him? If not, then I think he's not going to contribute. We'll ask JJ Picollo just about the latest with Hunter Harvey's rehab and things with the back injury, which is something that has taken longer than I'm sure they would have liked.
Would you put MacArthur in?
If Harvey is not available, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, because
so it's between those two for you.
Despite the issues there, well, ultimately, I think it's actually between Hernandez, Harvey, and MacArthur. Like I think if there's 3, it could come down to one of those 3 is the final spot, because they still like the strikeout stuff from MacArthur. But right now, especially the day after last night's outing, I'm sure there's plenty of people that are rolling their eyes. But that Harvey back issue will determine to me the final spot. He has to pitch in the next 10 days or so in the final 15 games. Otherwise, how can you put him on a playoff roster without him pitching in a month and a half?
I wouldn't feel good about it. That would feel like one of those maybe you'd get him on the second round if you actually got to see him. But the problem is you start running into he'd be left to Arizona developmental league innings if you were just trying to get him some work. The minor league season's not going to last that much longer. These whole rehab assignment things, they don't have that much time left on a minor league rehab assignment. So if he's going to face live hitters in a real game and get a rehab assignment, which at this point you would kind of think he needs, that would be the case. That's why I'm just assuming that in an ideal world it's probably Harvey. But if you're making me guess what the Royals rotation or bullpen is right now in the playoffs, I assume it does not include Harvey because he hasn't been available for a month.
He's not healthy. Yeah, he's flat out. I mean, the same thing applies for Lorenzen. Lorenzen, they think maybe is coming back fairly soon, but Harvey and Lorenzen, neither one is healthy currently. So how can you actually slot them into a current bullpen spot? But the first series, if it's a wild card series, of the postseason, it's a best of 3, and so that might change how you build out your roster as well. We'll get into at least the health stuff with JJ Picollo coming up in 20 minutes right here on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan. Don't forget, we are later on this month celebrating the 2014 wild card anniversary. It is crazy. It's already been 10 years since that unbelievable month of October, that unbelievable wild card game. You can listen to the entire game from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. on Monday, September 30th, right at the end of this season, plus special content, guests throughout the day on all our shows here on 96.5, and you can listen to the best part, the bottom of the 8th through the bottom of the 12th, 7 to 9 p.m. on that Monday night, September 30th.
You were at the game, right? I was at that game.
This
is not one of those like people are just claiming. I was there as a fan.
I was there as a fan, and it was, I want to say, 3rd or 4th row from the top. We were behind home plate, but 3rd or 4th row before my height thing, my vertigo height thing was a problem. There's no way I can sit in those same seats again today. There's no chance. No chance, Cody. 10 years ago, I could sit up there. Was not a problem.
Even
I couldn't.
For a Royals playoff game, you wouldn't do it?
You'd figure it out.
I might be able to figure it out.
For a World Series game, he'd figure it out.
But those seats, it's not a stuck up hoity-toity thing. It is that literally, I've told you, the height thing. It might be that. The height thing has gotten worse in the last 10 years.
My wall, I'm gonna need more money. Sorry, these seats won't work.
I'm serious. This is not a oh, you sat in the Crown Club, now you're too good. No, that's not what this is. It is. I've told you about Arrowhead as well. As a kid, used to sit in the 300 level, right around midfield, like 20th row, way the hell up there. No problem as a kid. I cannot sit in those seats now, and it's not like, oh, I don't like these seats. It's I am uncomfortable.
I mean, it's also that though, right?
I'm uncomfortable.
Like
I'm grabbing the edge of the seat. Like it's a problem now. I don't know what happened.
You're not even able to.
This happened about, I don't know, 7 years ago, 6 years ago. Started to become a problem.
Text line does not agree with me. They would prefer MacArthur not. Turns out, be on the playoff.
After last night, man.
Tough day for us to say that.
After last night, man. What do you expect?
I
was watching the Monday Night Football game.
1.35 ERA from August 1st to September 8th.
I didn't go.
He got his ass kicked, and there's no doubt about it.
I didn't go two TV setup last night. I was just flipping back and forth. I was like, I don't need the 2 TV. I was flipping back and forth between the Royals and then the Monday Night Football game, and I was watching the Jets game. And all of a sudden, my phone blew up, and I was like, "Oh no!" Because I knew it was late. I knew it was like it's definitely
late in the game, and it's close. And then your phone started to light up. And you're like, "MacArthur did bad, didn't he?"
Because that's the only. Look, I'll be honest. You know who some of you are. Whether it's Twitter, whether it's some of my friends that obviously listen to the show as well that text me.
You're quiet for 5 weeks.
We'll text about other stuff, but I know. All of a sudden, when the Royals were on the losing streak, I was getting a ton of text. When they were on a winning streak, no text. Last night, first 5 innings, no text at all. 7th, 8th inning. All of a sudden, you can imagine what the texts were like. And I knew at that moment who was in the game, and I knew how badly it went. That was not a good moment.
No, it was not. Bad outing for James MacArthur. I'm not defending that. I'm just telling you he's consistent, and you can call it a good or a bad way. That's up to you. He goes like 8 outings where he's really good, 1 where he gets his ass kicked. 8 more outings where he's really good, 1 where and again, it's not just like he gives up like 3, 4, 5, or 6 runs. It goes horribly when it goes bad for James MacArthur. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, following that, for the next 8 outings, you can probably trust James MacArthur. Next 8 times out, he'll probably be really solid.
Not every.
But then that 9th time is going to be bleak.
Come the playoffs, though, I understand some of the concern. If
'cause
Harvey's not healthy,
game in the
as we
playoffs
said,
is different.
if he's not healthy, I think there is a chance he still ends up actually on the playoff roster. All right, we'll get back to the Royals in 15 minutes with JJ Picollo. But let's talk about the Chiefs a little bit. Derek Johnson joins Fesco and Dusty each and every week here on 96.5 The Fan. And they had Derek Johnson, of course, one of the best linebackers in Chiefs history. They had him on the show, and they were talking a little about Nick Bolton because you and I, the day after the game last Friday, were discussing in particular Isaiah Likely and what he was able to do. And I think it's pretty obvious this is not something that's a new development for Nick Bolton. In coverage, he struggles. And if you're a team that has a super athletic tight end to create that mismatch, there's a liability at times there. And Isaiah Likely, who now might even be the number 1 tight end in Baltimore, we'll see. I mean, my goodness.
He might have stolen the man's job.
He's one of the more athletic tight ends. He's a problem. And that was a matchup the Ravens exposed. I don't know how many other teams are going to be able to do that, though, right? For example, this weekend, Gesicki, he's been in the league for a long time, but he's not nearly the athlete that Isaiah Likely is. The next week they're going to play the Falcons. Well, Kyle Pitts is that, right? So there's some other matchup problems that could occur. But we've known that about Nick Bolton. It was not a good game for him. However, I will say in run downs, that is still where he thrives. He's a big reason why they had success slowing down Derrick Henry in particular.
No, I really think if you look at, and I'll give credit to Nick Bolton here real quick, because I don't think he had a good game, and we talked about how he got abused in the passing game. What I hadn't realized that we failed to give him credit for on Monday, because we talked about the play, but not who actually shoved him. Nick Bolton, for as rough of a game as it appeared to be on film, was the man who shoved Isaiah Likely at the back of the end zone that forced his toe to go out, Gold. He was part of the reason they won the game. So at least if you're not, now look, you could be like, well, he also left Isaiah Likely open in the back of the end zone to catch the ball. Fine. But at the end of the day, he made the play. The problem is that you cannot trust him in coverage. And what I don't understand is usually when they have like a liability of a guy, like let's say a third down pass blocker, they don't put Carson Steele on third and passing situations in the backfield because they don't trust him to pass block. So if it's third and likely pass, get Bolton off the field. He can't cover.
Yeah, I don't think those are apples to apples. I don't think those are apples. You're comparing an undrafted guy that has played one game in the NFL to a guy that's been part of a Super Bowl team and almost helped them beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I don't think that's a fair comparison. But
I only mention Carson Steele because he's currently the back that they wouldn't put in pass protection. Yeah. In previous years, that might have been Clyde Edwards-Helaire or somebody else. What I'm saying is, if it comes to the down and distance is most likely to rely on a tight end going out and getting a reception, are you sure that Nick Bolton is the best player to put on the field at that moment? Look, most teams have a problem with athletic tight end. The Chiefs are not alone in that regard. And if somebody throws the ball short of the sticks, I'm pretty damn sure Nick Bolton's going to get the tackle. I'm not that upset. Nick Bolton had a bad game. He's had a really nice career in Kansas City so far. So why am I worried about one game being the reason why? I'm just saying, like, on third and pass situations, you can protect him a little bit.
I mentioned Derek Johnson was on the morning show earlier this week, and here's what he had to say about Nick Bolton's performance.
It's hard to, and Likely is a guy now. He's pretty good, but a young guy that's up and coming. It's one of those things where we're not far off. It's never as bad as you think it is. It's never as good as you think it is. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things you have to figure out how to shut a tight end or a certain play down. And there were times where Nick's eyes were bad or his technique wasn't quite on par, and they would take advantage of it at times. But trust me, I got plenty of confidence in Nick Bolton. Trust me. You talk about I call him ATM, automatic tackling machine. But I tell you what, Drew Tranquil, our defense is going to be really solid again this year. So I can't wait for just throughout the season, just the ups and downs of everything. And trust me, Nick is good.
So that's Derek Johnson, obviously somebody that played the position. I do think no matter what the performance was last Thursday, based on how camp went, based on the comments, we talked a ton about the contract stuff. I mean, it is obviously trending in a direction where he's likely not back. I mean, that whether it was a strong year or not, and whatever it ends up being for Nick Bolton. And when they didn't get a deal done before the season, the likelihood of him staying here just went down drastically anyway.
They seemed low.
And let's see what his performance is all year. But I don't think anything we saw, I disagree with the notion that Nick Bolton looked way worse than he ever has on Thursday.
He just had a tough game.
He had a tough game, but also that scenario where he has struggled before. We know that.
It's not new information. That's not what makes him
his
good at
best asset is tackling, and his best asset is in the run game. That's why he's out there. If we're saying who's the most athletic linebacker on the team with Willie Gay gone, it's obviously not Nick Bolton. It's Chanel. That guy was all over the field on Thursday.
Maybe that just lined up better for him on the matchup end, and the next game, let's say, and it might not be the next game, but the next time some team tries to run it at him, maybe that's where Nick Bolton ends up looking better in this role. They've got varied skill sets in their linebacker core, and I've told you before, I think it'd be kind of silly to be like, well, Nick Bolton's washed. Linebackers can't happen. He's a pretty young player with a decently proven track record and a player that they clearly trust to do the right thing 99.9% of the time. And honestly, if he makes that tackle and Isaiah Likely, we're probably just the one on the touchdown score. We're probably still saying, boy, he wasn't his best, but are we burying the man? Like, that's serious. Like, at that point, are you saying, oh, he was no good? No, you just been like, well, he was okay, I guess. but I wouldn't have buried him
I
if he
think
just makes
that's-
one tackle against Isaiah Likely, something he does pretty consistently.
Again, when you're facing a tight end with that sort of athleticism, that's going to cause some problems for a lot of linebackers in the league. They give the Ravens credit. They exposed that. That was an area they obviously felt confident in attacking, and it worked. And we could go through the entire schedule if somebody wanted to, but we mentioned how many other teams have a tight end with that kind of athleticism. I think the next one they'll face, as I said, is the Falcons in week 3 when it's Kyle Pitts, that sort of athleticism.
By that time, will Kirk Cousins be throwing the ball well enough to matter?
Who's after that? What is it? Is it the Saints? Is that the next game, or I'm missing a game? All right, so Taysom Hill. Okay, at that point, he brings something completely different to the table.
That's a completely different player.
That's a guy that's basically their number 2 running back in New Orleans and goal line situations, et cetera. So I guess my opinion, what I'm saying is, didn't really change on Bolton. The liabilities that time that we've seen in his career still are out there. That was nothing new to me.
No, I'm not. I think Derek Johnson probably puts it best. It is not as bad as you thought. It is not as good as you thought. Like, typically when you're watching these things, Leo Chanel was probably not as good as we think, right? He probably just wasn't
he was
one
everywhere,
man. But you know what? There probably are some snaps that we didn't notice.
He was everywhere.
Yeah, but he's just saying, like, as high as it's never quite as high as you think it is. It's never quite as low as it is. Nick Bolton wasn't the worst player on the field on Sunday. And he certainly and Leo Chanel wasn't the best player on the field on Sunday. There's some in
I don't
between.
think saying that, yeah.
Yeah, and so when you look at those things, I think it feels that way in the moment. But yeah, I think overall you're probably okay. We got a little bit of a problem.
We have a problem. You and I have a problem.
No. We don't have.
What's
a problem.
wrong?
We can actually. We don't want to have a problem like some Yankees broadcasters yesterday.
We're going to play that later.
Oh my God, it was so uncomfortable. No, we don't have a problem. We have a scheduling issue.
Okay.
So I want to know what we want to do here. Your Hallmark movie has a release date.
I saw that.
If you didn't see it, it comes out on 11/30, which is
30th, Thanksgiving weekend.
The Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Seems like perfect
That seems like an
timing for
inconvenient time to try to go.
It's a Hallmark movie.
Yeah,
It's
it
good
seems
time
like
for the Hallmark
that's
movie
when the Hallmark
thing.
Christmas movies start. Thanksgiving week, all of a sudden you
Everybody's
have
on vacation. They got it off. Yeah,
you
sit
have the
down and-
Christmas music starts to start being played. All the holiday commercials.
Timing of the movie, makes sense. Timing of the movie makes sense. But from a show perspective, we would like to get together, do a screening of this movie, sit at a theater. Are there enough of you, 913-586-7965, that if we get together for at a theater, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, can we do this thing properly? Because I don't want to do it the following Tuesday when everybody's already seen it.
I think the key. So I don't know if we can do the theater thing. There's some other establishments in the area that I'm told are doing watch parties. Maybe we just link up with them. We've heard there's some other places in town that are.
Are
going
you
to,
willing to do it the Saturday after Thanksgiving? Is what I'm asking you.
Well, I mean, I am. Of course,
okay.
acting debut. The 5 seconds that I might be in the film. Yeah, of course I'm ready. It was funny. Entertainment Tonight had a thing on it last night.
Oh.
I'm just going to have to email Hallmark. Is there an actual movie premiere? Can I explain
As
that
someone who was in
I
the
can
movie.
help promote the movie. You want to fly me out to LA, just what we want to do,
You
Hallmark.
think they do a little red carpet thing here in Kansas City? Maybe you ought to ask.
I would hope
I
I'm
don't have any of
invited.
those contacts. I wasn't in the movie.
I would hope I'm invited. Normally an extra, probably not getting invited to the movie premiere, but in this case, I think it'd be good publicity for you, Hallmark. So if you're doing a premiere red carpet, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind being invited to that.
How do I politely say hell no? I'm not
okay, so
Sometimes will we get an early screening? That's a good question.
Another thing you might want to ask.
These are all things that we got to figure out. We wanted to do a watch party, but the Thanksgiving weekend makes it a little more challenging.
I don't want to come across as anti you guys.
Oh boy!
But in all due
Here
respect,
we go, Mr. Cincinnati.
That's
No,
I don't want to
that's
come on
not
as
that.
anti you guys, and in all due respect,
No.
as an instant starter to
No,
you're going to be disrespectful.
No, it's slightly. Could we do Friday night? Because Saturday.
That's not when the movie's out. What do you mean? Can we do Friday night? That's not when the movie is.
No. You said the following Saturday, or you mean the Saturday of
The
Thanksgiving?
Saturday of Thanksgiving. When it comes out.
So Thanksgiving's on
Oh.
Thursday. It's on Hallmark, 7 o'clock Kansas City time on that Saturday night.
Okay.
And then it'll be on Hallmark, I'm sure, plenty of times for the next month.
That might be a little bit more doable, because I was going to say the following Saturday, that's where all the conference championships are happening on Saturday.
Trey Smith's in it. Andy Reid's in it. Donna Kelsey's in it. McCole Hardman's in it. I'm kind of in it.
What's the college football layout? Is that what your complaint is?
K-State
That's
plays
what it
Iowa
is.
State in that game. LSU
You
plays Oklahoma.
renounced your K-State fandom. That shouldn't matter.
We don't know what time.
I do
in
host a
fairness, Drew.
podcast, though, that covers K-State, so I feel like
Drew,
I am a little obligated.
We don't know what time kickoff is for those games, and we're not going to know till like a week or two
You
before.
also cover a show that cares about the release of this Hallmark movie.
Well, that's why
It's not just about, you gotta, this is double duty sometimes.
That's why I said what I said. I wanted to be respectful as to maybe we could finagle a time that properly works. Yes.
So I did see the
will be
release
there.
day. They announced that last Thursday night during the Chiefs game and everything. And we obviously were sidetracked by the game, so we didn't get to it. But I did see they said it was going to come out right around Thanksgiving, and sure enough, November 30th is the release date.
People are offering to bring bourbon to the screening.
I'm shocked, Cody. Are you as shocked as I am? They had a trailer. I'm not in the trailer. I was
No, you didn't make that.
very disappointed. Not in the trailer.
That's a bummer.
I was hoping I'd just be in the trailer and everything.
Too greedy.
If you would have been in the trailer, you can absolutely claim that you have a
ask for a
significantly
second
bigger
check.
role in the movie.
Yeah, there was no chance I was ever making in the trailer. There was no reason for me to ever be in the background of those shots.
I already looked at the slate, by the way, and that USC Notre Dame game doesn't matter anymore because Notre Dame lost to NIU.
No,
and
it-
Ohio State
it
Michigan doesn't
does.
matter anymore because Michigan stinks. So it's fine. The two biggest games that day don't matter anymore.
Ohio State, Michigan's going to
hold
be big noon kickoff, guys. I can
Oh,
almost
yeah, you're right.
guarantee
No,
you.
it always
11
is.
o'clock. Yeah.
Yes, it always is. Iowa State, K-State, that sounds like the ESPN game at 11 is what that sounds like. So
Okay.
that might be one of those games. By the way, Notre Dame can go 11-1, and they still make it.
They shouldn't.
We'll talk college football, I'm sure, throughout the week. Don't worry. Coming up in about a half hour also, we'll talk about the Missouri Tigers and what they have in store this weekend. But up next, we get back to the Royals with the general manager of Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo. We'll ask him about the upcoming 10-year anniversary of the wild card game and what's the latest on the health of Hunter Harvey.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Calling all Kansas City football fans to downtown Las Vegas. Join us at Circa Resort and Casino this October for the ultimate game day getaway. Huddle up at Overhang Bar with 96.5 The Fan for our pregame tailgates on Fridays with drink specials and giveaways, including a pair of game day tickets. Then catch all the action at the world's largest sportsbook or lounge in the center of it all at America's favorite place to watch football, Stadium Swim, featuring 6 pools and a massive 143-foot screen. To book your Huddle Up experience, visit circalasvegas.com today.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
Celebrate your home team's Tully touchdown with Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. May your team be swift and their aim true. May the refs be forever in your favor and your whiskey always Tullamore Dew. Tullamore Dew, the original triple blended, triple distilled, smooth sipping Irish whiskey, made exactly for game day moments like this. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by William Grant & Sons Incorporated, New York, New York. Please enjoy Tullamore Dew responsibly.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com. And remember,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
visit jrstormcheck.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien high-efficiency tankless is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real-person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Back here on Cody and Gold, 96.5, The Fan. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll get back into what happened last night, Monday Night Football, particularly some comments after the game that maybe shed some light on one thing the NFL is going to, I think, have to change at some point in the very near future with where the game is at in 2024. So we'll see if you guys agree with me on that coming up in just a little bit. But let's get right back into the Royals. We are in the home stretch of the season, of course. The Royals right here on 96.5 The Fan again tonight, a little after 6 o'clock, as they take on the Yankees. We go out to the hotline and we welcome in JJ Picollo, general manager of the Kansas City Royals. JJ, great to have you on the show again. I wanted to actually start with something we're going to be doing on the station at the end of the month, too, which is playing back some of the wild card game from 10 years ago. It's crazy that we're already at the 10-year anniversary for that wild card game. And this morning, Eric Hosmer was on our morning show, and he was talking about the veteran additions at that point in time. And I'm curious if you see some similarities to the veteran adds this year, a Pham or a Grossman, to what you guys did back in 14.
Yeah, I think there are some similarities. I mean, the one that really jumps out for me is Ben Zobrist and Raul Ibanez the year before. You know, when you had guys with that type of presence who've played in the playoffs, played in big games, understand what it's about, they tend to calm everybody else's nerves because they know this is just one day at a time, and a loss last night is behind us, a win last night's behind us, and it's time to move on. So when you add guys like that, I think it certainly brings a presence to the clubhouse that's very comforting.
How specifically has Tommy Pham fit in? I think the way, once he got added, because originally he probably wasn't a part of the plan and then became part of it when Vinny went down with the injury, how important has it been? Like, I thought maybe the biggest benefit that you can't see is one guy who's been in this lineup who's played in these games. You had Salvador Perez, but then the rest of the lineup, for the most part, JJ, hadn't really been playing in impactful games in September or playoff games that might be around the corner.
Tommy's been phenomenal, and we knew, and actually Haas was one of them. As soon as we got Pham, he texted immediately and said, "I love Tommy Pham." And when you got Michael Walker in that clubhouse that's played with him, he was excited about the addition. He just brings an intensity, an energy, a swagger to a team that already had swagger but now you got somebody at the top of the lineup that's an intense competitor in a very positive way, and that's guys feel that, and he's one of those guys who walks in the clubhouse and he commands presence right away. And he was somebody, though, and I don't know if I said it on this show, but he was somebody that we targeted prior to the deadline as well and just weren't able to acquire him. So to get him in late August was really a benefit. It just coincided with Vinny going down.
We know the budgetary stuff always comes up, but I'm guessing when you guys are playing this well, that's a pretty easy call to John Sherman to be like, hey, Vinny went down. I'm going to need to spend money in a bunch of random places at the moment to try to fill out the rest of this roster.
John's support has been phenomenal. He knew what we were doing every step of the way, just keeping him informed. These are the players that we have interest in. We're going to put the claim in on them if they become available, and very supportive. He understands where the team is, and he wants to win as much as anybody. So we're grateful that we have that type of support, and we were able to make those additions without a whole lot of discussion.
We're talking to JJ Picollo, Royals General Manager here on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Technology Group Solutions, where purpose meets possibilities. Everybody this entire season, I think, is focused, understandably so, on your guys' starting rotation, in particular the two All-Stars and Reagans and Lugo. It seems like almost lost in that has been how well Michael Wacha has pitched for you guys, and maybe he's been your best pitcher over the last 6 weeks. I don't know if you agree with that. But do you think he's been undervalued just out? I know not in the organization, but outside the organization.
We think he's been undervalued his entire career. I mean, it's really when you look up at what he's done or look back over this year and the previous 2 years, there's not a lot of guys in baseball that have won more games. And certainly he's been able to keep his team in games through 5 and 6 innings. And Michael's just learned how to navigate lineups. And the other day was a really big game for us, and he came up huge. I mean, that was really impressive what he did to get his 100th win. He's gone through some ups and downs, and maybe that's why he's essentially been on one-year contracts. And this year's one with a player option, but he's certainly proven his value time and time again over the last 3 seasons. And I'm just glad he's with us. I mean, that's you throw him in there with Singer and Lugo and Reagans and Marsh and Lorenzen hopefully coming back. It's a really good combination of 5-6 deep in our rotation.
I think I saw that Lorenzen's getting ready to start a rehab assignment. How quickly do you think he could rejoin the club?
Well, he's going to make a start tonight. He's not going to throw a ton of pitches, probably 2 innings, but he potentially could join the club again this weekend. We just need to see how it goes tonight. We also need to see him get challenged a little bit as far as covering first. It is a hamstring injury, so you want to make sure that you don't jump the gun a little bit too quickly. So we'll see how it goes tonight, but we're hopeful and very upbeat that he's probably going to be back this weekend sometime.
While we're talking about the health of some guys, what about Hunter Harvey? I know the last time we had you on, I think you at that time had said, he was progressing maybe a little slower than you guys thought at first. What's the latest on his status as we approach the end of the season?
Yeah, it's very, very stagnant right now. He's here with the club, continuing his rehab. He's doing some light throwing, but he hasn't been off the mound for some time. So this is taking a little bit more time than we anticipated at first. Then he had a minor setback. We need to keep him going, though, because he's a one-inning reliever. If we can get him up and get him on the mound and throw to some hitters in a sim game, he could be back in there fairly quickly. It's really just a matter of how his back responds along the way.
When you look at how you're going to fill out a potential, I know you don't want to look too far ahead and it's one game at a time, but is it going to be hard to build out a playoff bullpen if you don't have answers on Hunter Harvey before that time?
Well, the advantage, if we end up being in a short series in the wild card, you don't need 5 starters. You need 3 starters. So, it'll be all hands on deck. So whatever 2 starters weren't pitching in one of those 3 games, they automatically go to the bullpen. So your bullpen gets deeper there. And then really just trying to figure out, who's going to pitch in what roles. Obviously, Lucas is throwing the highest leverage situation in the last 3 innings of the game. If we take one of our starters and put them in the bullpen, maybe somebody else can handle leverage. That's something we're going to have to work on. To be very honest, I don't like talking about it just because I don't want to be presumptive, but we do need to discuss those types of things. But we got to take care of what's at hand first. But that playoff roster, typically teams carry 11 pitchers in a short series and then 12 or 13 in a long series. So we have some thinking to do, and we need to really kind of examine every possibility. Who's our opponent? Do they have a lot of left-handed hitters? Do you need three left-handed relievers or not? So they're all things that will be determined, based on what series we're playing in and who we're playing.
I know you had the losing streak during this, but do you look back at, so you're 18 games into what everyone was looking at, a 20-game stretch against pretty much just straight playoff teams during those 20 games. You had the losing streak and you lost Vinny during that, but you're still currently 8-10 during that stretch. Do you look at that as an overall win during that time, considering the opponents and the injury you went through and the fact you had to rebound from the losing streak?
You don't like to say that 8-10 is a good thing. Going into this, I thought if we went 8-12, we were probably going to need help. Teams behind us losing, and that's exactly what's happened. If we went 10-10, we'd probably be in a really strong position. If we went more than 10 wins, we'd be in a great position. So, considering we lost Vinny, we've got 3 new players on the team since this 20-game stretch started. I think we're playing well right now. Last night got away from us, but I think we're playing well right now. I think it's a positive thing, and we knew this was a tough stretch. We got to weather the storm. We did. We bounced back, and now get through these last 2 nights in New York, and you head into the last 2 weeks of the season.
How is Vinny feeling post-surgery, by the way?
He's doing fine. He's you guys know he's a character. He's fun to be around. He's kept the clubhouse light. Yesterday was a Jets game, so he's bouncing off the walls for the Jets opening night. Happened to be in New York. The visiting clubhouse guys got Jets paraphernalia all over the clubhouse, so in his office. So Vinny was in a good mood yesterday, but he knows what his role is right now. That's to keep other guys loose and to still be part of the team. And hopefully this is a 6-week process, and we're still playing in 6 weeks, and Vinny can help and jump back in the lineup.
I'm curious with him traveling. Was that something that you guys just said, hey, there's no question he's traveling with us? Was that something that he asked? I'm just behind the scenes on how that worked out.
We decided a couple weeks ago in September we were going to travel all of our injured players.
Okay.
This is such a special time. We want people to experience it. We want them to feel it. We want them to be a part of it. So we had, Will Smith, Kyle Wright, Vinny, Hunter Harvey, they're all on this trip because they're part of the team. And we just believe that this is the right place for them to be in the middle of a playoff chase rather than being back at Kauffman Stadium working out in an empty stadium. So I'm glad they're here.
JJ Picollo, Royals general manager. We'll check in a couple of weeks. I'm trying to do the math on when I think right before the end of the regular season. We'll be like 2 days out. So hopefully at that point we can actually start talking playoffs with you.
That sounds good. I'm looking forward to having our fans back in Kansas City. We got 6 home games and hoping to get 150,000 out there. 25,000 a night would really pump this club up. So looking forward to getting back home.
Yeah, just real quick, JJ, as you mentioned that, the Saturday atmosphere definitely felt that way, didn't? I'm guessing you guys really thrive on that kind of atmosphere.
It was unbelievable. And for the guys that have not played in that atmosphere before, they felt it. That was the talk of the post game. They felt that 8th inning with our fans there and the roar of the crowd, the Let's Go Royals chants. Those of us that were here in 14 and 15, we know what that's like. Actually, I saw Haas said something about it today in his release of that little documentary. Yeah. But that was the first time Bobby and Izzy and all the guys were able to feel that. Salvi knows it, but it was real and that was fun, and that's what we need. I mean, the more people that are out there, the better. The more motivating it is. It's Kauffman Stadium's like a football atmosphere when we have 30,000 there, and that's what makes this game so much fun. So looking forward to having more out when we get back home.
Right there with you. There you go. That's JJ Picollo, general manager of the Kansas City Royals, joining us here on 96.5 The Fan. Our conversations with JJ brought to you by Technology Group Solutions, where purpose meets possibilities. Yeah, on his last point about just the atmosphere, and you mentioned Saturday. As I said, the first 6 innings, there wasn't a whole lot because, there was one hit. But, man, the 8th inning, you did start to get those playoff type of vibes out there. And it was an awesome crowd. They had, a great promotion around it as well. The weather was perfect on Saturday, all of that. But as he said, you got 6 more of these left and hopefully some more in the playoffs as well.
But the way the wild card's set up, you're not guaranteed that necessarily.
We had said for the last month and a half, from a player perspective, that every game, the next one is the biggest game most of these guys have ever played. Not all of them, guys like Pham and Waka, et cetera, but
Salvi,
but for Bobby and Vinny, and you keep going down the list, right? Biggest games. That goes for also the crowd that comes with it. And you hear time and time again, I don't care what sport, what athlete we're talking to, when you have a crowd amped up behind you, I mean, it changes it for everybody. It just does.
I told you yesterday that I would ask around to try to get some tickets for people because I was like, well, some people were like, well, that's easy to say from your ivory tower and where you can get free tickets or go with a press credential. I thought that's fair.
Did the ticket fairy come through?
Point. I already gave out 12 tickets yesterday, and I have 12 more, including parking passes. So if you want to go to the games, the next 6 home games, text me your MLB ballpark email, and I'll find 3 more people. And I'll do you the favor of, I'll keep asking other people I know who might have tickets, because I got it from 2 sources yesterday. I'll keep asking other people I know who have tickets, and if I keep getting them, I'll tell people, we'll talk about it on the show, Gold, because we want people out there at the K, the same as you and I like going out for the final 6 games. So let me know what your email is, and I'll try to get some more people out to the K. This show will try to send as many people out for those final 6 home games as we can.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll talk a little college football. Of course, the Missouri Tigers maybe have the biggest college football game of anybody in the country this week in the way the schedule is shaping out. They take on Boston College. They haven't given up a point, the Missouri Tigers. So we'll discuss them a little bit. We'll also, in about a half hour, talk about the repercussions of what happens on Sunday for the Chiefs and the Bengals. Already big-time repercussions. We'll explain that in just a bit. But last night, week 1 of the NFL season wrapped up, and you had Aaron Rodgers, I'd call it basically making his Jets debut because he only played in 4 snaps last year, and we know how that all played out. Last night, the Jets lose on the road to San Francisco. That's not really the story. Also, I still will say Aaron Rodgers has yet to play a full game as a member of the New York Jets. They pulled him late in the game because the game was out of reach. But the comments after the game is what I want to talk about. So Jordan Mason filled in for Christian McCaffrey. He was awesome last night. He looked great. Don't want to take anything away from him. Some people were. They're like, it's just Kyle Shanahan. Anybody can run in his scheme. There might be some truth to that, but Jordan Mason was great. Christian McCaffrey, though, was ruled inactive. It was a surprise. Now, he was listed as questionable for like a week or so.
Everybody just kind of assumed he was going to play.
Everybody knew he had a calf injury / Achilles injury, so he was hurt. But on Saturday, he was asked if he was going to play. And you guys might recall, he said, I'll be suited up, okay? So then he gets inactive. That was a surprise. After the game, Jordan Mason was asked on the national broadcast when he found out he was starting.
When did you find out that you were going to be starting?
When I found out, maybe Friday night, something like that. I was always prepared.
When did you?
So that was weird. He found out.
I don't know why the beginning of that.
He found out on Friday night, and you're like, okay, well, why does this matter? The issue is the NFL injury reports, and now in 2024, yes, gambling money that the league takes in, and how prevalent it is. Typically, I know if you're an NFL coach, you're like, I don't really give a damn. I want the competitive advantage. I don't want my opponent to know if my guy's hurt. I get it. But the NFL now, we know, is in bed with sports betting companies. There are millions and millions and millions of dollars that are wagered every single weekend on said sport. And the Niners are getting fined for this, absolutely at minimum. And there needs to be stiffer punishment. Whether it's the Niners, whether it's the Chiefs or whoever. This is important now for injury reports to be accurate if you're going to have these kind of relationships with sports betting companies. Old school football coaches will say, I don't give a damn. I'm just telling you the reality of 2024 with how the NFL has positioned itself. And college football is trending in this direction as well. And because after the game, then Jordan Mason was in a press conference, and he was actually mad at the media because his team put him in a bad spot. Listen to this.
When did you find out that you'd be in the starting lineup?
That question right there is why I'm at. That's why I don't like really talking to media, because you say one thing wrong, and then, I don't know. Just skip that question.
So he was emotional. I don't think nobody's mad at you. Yeah, nobody's mad at Mason. It's
maybe your PR person's mad at you.
It's the PR staff or Kyle Shanahan. Maybe they're upset with him. I don't know, because they got in a little bit of problem. Yeah, nobody's like the media asked the question didn't do anything wrong asking Jordan Mason, when did you find out you were going to start? Nobody's attacking him for giving an honest answer. It's that his answer may have gotten the Niners in trouble. That's not his fault. Maybe he shouldn't have said it or whatever, but like that has nothing to do with the media. Someone says, hey, on the text line, just because he knew he was starting doesn't mean McCaffrey wasn't playing. Okay, so
stop it.
Christian McCaffrey is the starting running back, a guy that almost won MVP last year. If McCaffrey is having someone else start over, it means they knew he was going to be inactive. So let's not pretend that wasn't always known on Friday.
So I understand the betting end and why this is big business and a million reasons why we protect this. But I don't care whether you like a rule or not. In every sport, there are competitive advantage rules. It is a competitive advantage to lie on an injury report and then tell a team a guy might play. Because if you're telling me right now that the Jets don't game plan differently, whether it's Jordan Mason on the field or Christian McCaffrey, you're full of it. The problem is they're trying to pull one over on someone and gain this little competitive advantage. And there are rules for competitive advantage for a reason. So, yeah, find these teams, punish them with a draft pick, or do whatever you have to do so people stop lying on these injury reports. If your guy's hurt, he's hurt. I know it stinks. Do you have to admit that to the other team? Boo-hoo. Just out-coach them. You're the better team anyway. Like, the 49ers are a better team anyway. You were obviously better without Christian McCaffrey either way. So why didn't you just be honest about the circumstance and admit the injury? And Jordan, like, it's not our fault. And I think he's just heated in the moment. I don't think he actually thinks, like, the media is out to get him. Because he probably went back there and some member of the PR staff's like, damn, dude, you can't say that. You're making us look bad. But the team knew what we knew. There was no chance Christian McCaffrey was playing on Monday night. They told him on Friday he was starting. That's 3 days before the game.
913-586-7965. From the 816, someone said, so, hey, players can't bet on games, but they have to be honest about injuries, so you can. It's called gambling for a reason. One, again, it's not about the player. Nobody's saying that the player has to publicly come out and declare their health status. Nobody's saying that. It's that the NFL has a rule that an injury report is supposed to be accurate. And clearly the injury report that was given throughout the weekend and the official one on a daily basis was not. Remember, you guys recall last year, there was, I don't remember which game it was, but the Chiefs actually followed the rule. I think Mahomes, who was it? Was it Mahomes that woke up one morning with like sniffles, essentially? Like the flu. It turned out to be the flu. It wasn't just sniffles, but you get what I'm saying. They reported that because you're supposed to report that. Some teams choose not to do that. Some teams get away with that. But that is a accurate. You are supposed to, like, if all of a sudden, if you're an NFL team and your quarterback or your starting receiver wake up on Saturday, Drew, and they got the stomach flu, they are actually supposed to report that. I know some of you that don't gamble say, oh, this is just... By the way, I didn't have a single bet on Christian McCaffrey. This is not me being bitter about that. I'm telling you, but in 2024...
I won in the only fantasy league I own it in.
Where the teams have, and the league has so much tied into sports betting financially, and in terms of them benefiting... It's not on the players. This is on the teams and the coaching staff and the training staff.
And it's not like, and you don't lose the bet because I had McCaffrey in a parlay. It was voided. You lose nothing by the fact that of him not playing. So it's almost a wash.
Losing fantasy, maybe.
It's almost fantasy-wise, sure. But in terms of like actually betting, it's a wash.
I understand.
I don't get why it's so hard for. I know why
because they think there's a. But that's the point. The rule exists to eliminate the competitive advantage. And then they had to alter the rule because Bill Belichick constantly tried to skirt the rules on it.
But it's week one. There's nothing that. There's no tape on Jordan Mason in the first place. There's nothing. There's no competitive advantage. I don't think that they could have gotten by waiting.
I disagree with that.
The game plan, as far as I know.
Yeah, the Jets obviously got their ass kicked, Drew, in hindsight. But there is a difference going. If you know, if you were to talk to any former coach, I'm sure if you know that a team's starting running back is out.
Why protect it if there's no competitive advantage, Drew? Why lie about it at all if there's no advantage?
That's what I'm saying.
That's the problem.
To me, there wasn't an advantage because based on what George Kittle said after the game on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt, he said the only thing that changed in the game plan. There were maybe 5 plays that were scrapped from the playbook. Okay. Everything else, everything that they did was essentially the same as what they would have done.
But then why lie? If the 49ers do not believe that there is a competitive advantage in withholding that information, then why lie?
That's what I'm saying.
That's the problem.
There's nothing that they would have done with Christian McCaffrey that was so big.
I'm sure George Kittle did say that.
there's nothing that he would have done that was so big where it would have completely altered the game plan that they had because
he's the best running back in the league. He absolutely alters.
Let him finish.
Jordan, it's not like, hold on. Jordan Mason ran for 147 yards. It's not like he ran for 35 and averaged 2 yards a carry. He ran for 147 yards. He was the second best running back in the league in week 1. The game plan to me did not change at all. Jordan Mason was really damn good, and
yeah, I just think
49ers won. Brandon Ayuk was a non-factor in the game. George Kittle was a non-factor.
Yeah, no, they beat the Jets.
Yeah, they kicked
last
their
night.
ass.
They were all over them. But I don't think
I don't think it shifted as much as what people think so much that you should lie on an injury report.
Yeah,
but they did.
I'm not disagreeing that but Christian McCaffrey is one of the top 5. If we take top 5 players in the NFL,
I know that.
And so saying that it's not a big deal if a team knows you're not playing or not. I'm disagreeing with you that's not a big deal if a team knows or not. You're saying it doesn't matter.
No, that's not. I'm saying that it is a big deal, but it's not a big enough deal for you to hide it and not put it in the report and break a rule.
But
that's what I'm saying.
But they did do that. So
I know.
You're not wrong in the sense that maybe it's like, but I know you're saying it's not as big of a deal, but Kyle Shanahan, one of the top 5 coaches in the league, does think that. Like, you don't think it's as big of a deal? He does. George Kittle's downplaying it because they're going to get in trouble.
People are saying that I'm not saying I know Christian McCaffrey's that you're not listening to what I'm saying. Christian McCaffrey does make a difference, but it's not in terms of what they do for them to lie and break the NFL rules. That's why the penalty has to be stiff. It's never enough for you to break a rule based on the injury report because of the gambling stuff, because of what the penalty should be for the team that does break those rules.
The issue is maybe it doesn't change the 49ers game plan, but maybe it changes the Jets. That's what matters.
Well, that's what I thought we were talking about.
He's talking about it's not changing the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm talking about from the competitive side on the other end with the Jets. Anyway, we'll see if there's a fine or something comes from this. And I understand that he was listed as questionable for those texting in. I get that. But as starting running back, if he's not starting in the game, then he's probably inactive. Like, if the Chiefs had Isaiah Pacheco questionable, and then Friday they told Carson Steele he was starting, Pacheco's not just the backup. Now, like, the snaps could end up that way, but who the starting running back would be in that game would be Isaiah Pacheco, not Carson Steele. So that's the issue here. They knew McCaffrey on Friday night was not playing in the game. We'll see what happens. All right, coming up next, let's talk some college football. The Missouri Tigers have looked as good as anybody in college football. They haven't given up a single point. They have one of the best games of the weekend. We'll talk about that and what could happen on Sunday in the Chiefs-Bengals game.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here now on 96.5 The Fan, telling you guys about my friends over at Window World. Window World is the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Pick up the phone right now and call Window World today at 816-799-0820 or check out the website, windowskansascity.com. And remember this, when you call Window World, be sure to mention that you heard this on The Drive with me, and you'll be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets during the upcoming season. You know they got some big games, and you're going to want to be there. So call my friends over at Window World. They're offering right now 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. In over 20 years of business, Window World has improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 homes right here in the Kansas City metro. Check out the website, windowskansascity.com. Pick up the phone today at 816-799-0820 for a free home estimate. Call to be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets. Remember, Window World, simply the best for less. And the official window of your Kansas City Chiefs.
Little football, basketball, pickleball, cross training, mud events, Spartan races and things like that.
For Dr. Eric Williams, a successful chiropractor, staying active means everything. So when nagging knee pain slowed him down, he didn't want drugs or invasive surgery. He found a natural way to get lasting relief. QC Kinetics Cellular Therapies.
We're using my body's natural abilities to get better. And that's huge. In time, that's going to be the way of the future. Using your own body's ability to heal. Now I can play day to day and not have that severe pain.
Now he's back out there doing what he loves, thanks to QC Kinetics.
Life is good. You're not going to slow me down.
Leave the pain behind and get moving. Book your free consultation today with QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Using the Labor Day weekend to get some work done? We got you. Stop by any store to save on oil, fuel system cleaner, wipers, and more. Looking for an end-of-summer wash? We've got deals for that too. Don't want to leave the garage? Get same-day delivery on AutoZone.com. Do Labor Day your way by getting something done at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold. Don't sit around waiting until you have to make a decision to finally make the call to Centric. Shift to new opportunities with better advancement.
Look, we're all looking for those parts of our career where we can have that better pay, those career advancements in cybersecurity and the technology field. There's so many chances for advancement, and you can do that by going to our friends over at Centric.
It's time for you to meet with our friend Russ to shift to those new opportunities. Just go to Centric.com.
Fill out a form and tell him that Gold and I sent you, and Russ will talk you through everything.
It's not just about watching the game, it's about betting on it. I'm Mike Valenti, and on Cash the Ticket, Jim Costa and I break down every college football and NFL matchup like it's the last game we're ever going to watch. From the best bets to the sneaky underdogs, and of course, as my co-host likes to say, the value. And the one thing we're not going to do is pretend we're professionals. We have fun with it, it's an entertainment product, and it makes watching games a hell of a lot of fun. So Cash the Ticket, follow it in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/gutter to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/gutter. That's leaffilter.com/gutter.
Fall's coming, you have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve, so this fall make a plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. A little bit later on today, 1 o'clock hour, Nate Taylor from The Athletic going to join us in studio. A few final thoughts from last week's opener with him, plus we'll look ahead and kind of get his expectation for Hollywood Brown, see where he's at as the week progresses, and just what he's expecting against the Cincinnati team that obviously did not look good in their opener, but these games typically are very, very close and competitive when you take a look at Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes.
Consistent.
As of right this second, it seems like injury-wise, T. Higgins is leaning closer to the being outside than playing. Hollywood Brown, I think it's completely up in the air. As we get closer and closer to kickoff, we'll get some more clarity on that. I do want to talk college football a little bit. Drew, you have a new podcast coming out tomorrow, is that right?
Tomorrow's the plan.
All right, new podcast out tomorrow. All 3 local schools you'll touch on. I want to talk Missouri for a little bit because we talked K-State and KU yesterday. Missouri, of course, has been the most impressive of the 3 locals. I understand their schedule hasn't been tough yet.
They're pretty soft.
They're going to get a very good test this week, though, against Boston College. But they also haven't given up a point. I get it. You can say the opponent, but to make it through 2 weeks in the FBS and not give up.
I don't think anybody else has done this.
A point. Yeah, they haven't allowed a single point. They're first in total defense in terms of yards allowed. Opponent completion percentage. Their opponents are only completing 37% of passes. And then on the offensive side, we know that basically they have been spreading the ball around. 5 different players have scored rushing touchdowns for Mizzou. Cook has 3 of them. Luther Burden has 1. And we know what he's capable of. But this is a good test. I say it's a good test, and yet they're 16.5-point favorites. But Boston College was a 16.5-point underdog against Florida State when we all know they shocked them and beat them 2 weeks ago.
Now, it might just be that Florida State's not very good, and Missouri is, but you can certainly put that stamp on things. I don't care who the opponents are. You cannot ignore back-to-back shutouts, especially when you consider how rarely that happens in college football through 2 weeks and how rarely that's happened for Missouri through 2 weeks. Because the truth is, we knew one thing about Missouri going into this year. They were going to have pretty good to maybe really good quarterback play, and they had the best offensive weapon in all of college football, in my opinion, Luther Burden. So we knew that they were going to have an offense. We knew that they were going to be able to score. But these SEC games don't always go 30-30, 40-40. So what were you going to do when you get tied up in a game in Tuscaloosa that's going 28-24? Can your defense do the job? We might have found out that they can. Because if they're able to hold down Boston College's offense again and cover this spread again, they're going to start looking like the team that you had said before this season and looks to be the case. They beat Boston College. They might very well be undefeated before they take on Alabama in Tuscaloosa, because they might have a top 3 defense in the SEC. And if you're talking about their offense with that, you're talking about an easy college football playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule sets up nice. We did talk about the first 6-7 games, and I really do believe, I said it before the season, and obviously they can get through Boston College. I think they have A&M still on the horizon, but can they be undefeated going to Tuscaloosa, as you're saying? This is a nice step up, though, in competition. So, I mean, I'm really curious to see how they I think they're going to beat Boston College, but I just want to see, do they look dominant against them as well? Or is it a really close game and gives us a better feel of where they're at? I mean, if they go out and beat Boston College by 3 touchdowns, that's a hell of a statement. It really is. That preseason, I wouldn't have said that because Boston College hasn't been very good.
Yeah, they haven't been a very good program.
But the way Boston College, Bill O'Brien has them playing right now, they've looked really good, Drew.
Yeah, I think that they've had, in particular, they've had the better starts, too, because KU's gotten off to some slower starts in their games. There's been some frustration, obviously, with Jalen Daniels. K-State has gotten off to slow starts in the games that they've played. Missouri's come right out of the gate and just punched the teams right in the mouth. It's the first time.
Yeah, just first-round knockouts. It's not even close.
It's the first time since 1935 that they've opened up with back-to-back shutouts. I mean, it's been that long, and that was the big question for Missouri coming in, is we knew Theo Weiss was great. We knew Luther Burden was great. We knew that Marcus Carroll and Nate Noel could come in and try to, mold together what Cody Schrader brought in last year, and Brady Cook is the leader. Brady Cook only has one touchdown pass. They're doing everything on the ground. They're doing so much on the ground that is making them multifaceted in the offense.
It's been conservative. I mean, conservative we're still scoring 40 points a game.
And in the offense that's already really good, they're multifaceted now. It's not just one running back, it's two running backs. They can run the ball with Luther Burden. Theo Weiss Jr.'s there. Brett Norfleet is a really good tight end there. I think we knew the offense was going to be really good. The big question was the defense. Can they find a way to mesh the guys that they brought in with the portal and the players who they bring back? Because they lost Darius Robinson. They lost Ennis Rakestraw, who played for the Lions over the weekend. They lost Chris Abrams-Drain. So far, so good. The I almost don't know what the biggest test for them through the air is going to be, because Boston College, there's some effectiveness with Thomas Castellanos, but he runs. Like, he's very much a dual threat quarterback. Alabama, kind of the same thing. Like, the first big test from a passing perspective they might face is Oklahoma.
I like the Texans, they're lucky not to be playing Texas. Yeah, we established that from the very beginning. The reason why they should be in the college football playoff is this might be the easiest SEC schedule they have for the next 10 years.
Well, they also
it'll probably look more challenging.
Well, they also have a really good quarterback and the best wide receiver in college football. This
could not
is
be
your
better
year
for Missouri.
This is your year to go make it happen for the Missouri Tigers. And the schedule, they got A&M coming up on October 5th, right? That's their toughest.
On the road.
Yeah, on the road. Then they get UMass after that, Auburn. Then it's the big one in Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma, the two back-to-back games. And then if they can somehow even split that, South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. I know Arkansas looked better this past weekend. South Carolina and Mississippi State, Mississippi State I don't think is any good. South Carolina, it's the Arkansas game, the last game of the season, could be more interesting if they can put together the same type of performance they just had against Oklahoma State. But this is what makes it fun. This early in the season, we don't know fully who sucks yet. So, like Arkansas, we're like, man, they hung in overtime with Oklahoma State. We might find out Oklahoma State is just not as good as we all think they are. They're ranked preseason. They've obviously got a great running back and all that. But Arkansas should have beat Oklahoma State.
But ranked preseason is vibes. We know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I mean, Taylor Green, speaking of passing, Arkansas is going to be a test for Missouri. One, because it's a rivalry game. And two, Arkansas look really good. They're in the SEC. They're going to be a better team than what their record shows, I think, for sure. But, yeah, so far Missouri looks really good. And as we said from the jump, as you guys mentioned, it's going to be A&M, Alabama, Oklahoma. Those are the games that everybody circles. You can't really slip up anywhere else if you're going to slip up in one of those three games. If you're Missouri, I mean, yes, they have an easier schedule, but you know who didn't decide the schedule for them? It was Missouri. They decided non-conference. They didn't pick who of the SEC teams that they play.
And it'll rotate around. Don't worry. Their schedule next year
they'll get Texas and Georgia and, it's just
But go capitalize this year. And again, 249 miles of college football podcast. New episode with Drew up tomorrow. Odyssey app and obviously 96.5 The Fan, wherever you get your podcast as well. We'll get to the trash of the day in about 8 minutes or so. But the Chiefs and Bengals on Sunday. We're going to talk all week long about this game, whether it's with Nate Taylor. We'll have some guests on from Cincy later on the week. Ross Tucker going to join us later on the week as well and get you set for this one. And, of course, Chiefs-Bengals right here on 96.5 The Fan, 3:25 kickoff here on the station. Obviously, pregame begins much earlier in the day than that. But for it being week 2, if we're talking the standard being number 1 seed in the AFC, for one team, that is on the line, though, based off of the head-to-heads and already where things are trending.
So going into the year, we probably would have only had maybe 4 teams as a possible could take the 1 seed from the Chiefs this year possibilities. Buffalo, Cincinnati, the Ravens, and I would just say the AFC South winner. I think you and I both thought the Texans, so let's call it the Texans for now. Those are the only teams we took as serious contenders for the number 1 seed. If the Chiefs win on Sunday, the Cincinnati Bengals are eliminated from the number 1 seed conversation. They will be 2 games back with no tiebreaker. There is no scenario in the entire Chiefs' history that anyone is going to close that gap at any point in the season to take the number 1 seed from them. Maybe somebody else would take it, or that would be in the case. But if you're 2 games up and have no tiebreaker, bye-bye 1 seed. And so to get it down from 4 teams to 3 is not unimportant. Those little stair steps along the way make a difference. And plus, you know, it's hard to take Cincinnati as a real threat if they're 0-2 once again and haven't beaten the Chiefs in the regular season this time. They used to be able to hang their hat on that.
I mean, if that result happens and they're 0-2, that in its own right is the biggest reason why. It's not even the head-to-head stuff. It's just that, hey, you're digging yourself a hole, and then also what did you see? Did they lose in a close game, or did they look just as bad offensively? That's going to tell a lot. How does Cincinnati perform, even if they were to lose the game? Does this thing come down to the wire again, or is it a dominating win? Most of these games between the two have not been dominating wins by either side.
We'll get to that when we talk point spread later. They've all been very close.
But if that does happen, I think that says a lot about Cincinnati if, in fact, they were to lose by a wide margin if they lose on Sunday. So for the number 1 seed, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's also the division they're in. If they were in a different division, I wouldn't say it's insurmountable already. It's so we're in week 2 of the season. That seems kind of silly to say. But because of the division they're in, that's their challenge. Like going 0-2, losing a head-to-head against a team that you're battling for a potential 1 seed late, and you're in a division with the Ravens. And even though I don't think the Steelers are any good, Mike Tomlin still works miracles, and they find ways to win games. That they kick 6 field goals, you know. So
I would, like, generally speaking, we probably overvalue that division this year because I think people again thought Cleveland would make some noise, but they can't. They have no one to play quarterback.
No, they fixed everything. Deshaun Watson finally has a good weapon. They signed Kadarius Toney. Everything's good for them now.
I'm not even kidding. My working theory on that signing for Cleveland is that they signed him so that there was a player who looked worse on the roster than Deshaun Watson. They couldn't have Deshaun Watson be the worst offensive player on their team. So what they did instead was sign Kadarius Toney to take that crown. Congratulations, Deshaun. No longer the worst player on your team.
Are we sure that Kadarius Toney is worse than Deshaun Watson?
Yes.
Are we sure?
That's one of the few players in the league I can confidently say that about.
Yes. Are we sure? Because
Deshaun finally got some help. Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, Njoku, Nick Chubb when he's healthy. Just not enough talent around Deshaun Watson. But now he has Kadarius Toney. Remember, the Chiefs play the Browns December 15th. Will Kadarius Toney be on the active roster of the Browns by December 15th?
December 15th? You could have said October 15th.
But that's
that's
when they play the Chiefs. That's why I threw out that date.
God, yeah. I mean, it could have been October 15th, and I wasn't going to feel that way.
Yeah, we'll get to what's trending. Deshaun Watson also has some other stuff coming back
Mike
up
Tomlin
as well.
just said they're preparing as in Justin Fields as their starter for this Sunday again. As he said, as I sit this moment, I am preparing as if Justin Fields.
I know they only
more sense.
Fields still has a higher ceiling, even though he didn't look great and they kicked 6 field goals. But yeah, to me,
they scored 6 times.
You have to roll with Fields until there's a problem there. You just won a game against the Falcons. He didn't make the terrible mistakes, even though it wasn't a great offensive performance.
And Russell Wilson just got Wally pipped.
For now, it should be the case. That's why Russ was still wearing his damn uniform on the sideline, because he knows he might have lost his job already. And the Steelers are only paying him $1.5 million, so they're not tied to him. If he was making $35 million, Russell Wilson would obviously get the job back immediately.
So you're saying he was getting used to holding an iPad and being on the sideline with pads on?
Sure. Oh, if he's not the starter all year, and I'm sure at some point he'll probably start a random game for them, he's going to be in uniform on the sideline the entire season, just holding a tablet.
It makes more sense because, like Najee Harris, I think having a quarterback who's capable of running the ball as well, it takes some pressure off of him. Where Najee Harris is, whenever he never really has a really big game like that, unless he runs for 25, unless he runs 25 times or 20 times, where Justin Fields can alleviate some of that, I think, where Najee has more open holes.
What's exciting about this is, like, you don't have to look this early because I actually think the bye is more important this year than it's been for years for the Chiefs. These games, these snaps, they're going to start adding up eventually. Going to back-to-back Super Bowls, going 3 times in 5 years for their biggest stars, you saw the difference between a team that got to rest their starters in Week 17 and what they look like entering the playoffs. You could not watch that and tell me that them getting a bye this year doesn't matter. So the idea that Sunday eliminates one of the possible competitors for that crown excites me, other than just the normal part, going 2-0, getting a win, beating Cincinnati in the regular, whatever, right? Other than the normal, it's a win in the regular season, hooray. The idea that their competition that might have included in this before the season, Bills, Bengals, Ravens, like it does every year, and the AFC South winner is down to 3 instead of 4. Great. one team gone, figure out a way to knock out the other three. And the Bills' schedule, Josh Allen looked great, but the rest of the team had some questionable moments. Who knows what happens to them over the next 3 weeks? They're at Miami, at home against Jacksonville, at the Ravens, and at the Texans the next 4 weeks.
That's really
the Bills,
difficult.
we'll know everything we want to know about the Bills
they have
after the next month.
Short week. They're playing on Thursday here in just a couple days, and Josh Allen's kind of questionable right now. I'm assuming he's playing. We'll see after all the injury stuff with
the whole
Niners.
AFC East picture could be different because we ran through before the show. We ran through the Jets' schedule. They could be 4-1, where the Bills could be. I'm not 1-4 necessarily, but they're
at the end of that stretch. By the way, the Bills played the Jets, so they
very well could be very well behind the 8 ball in terms of the division as well at that point.
Bills have a really difficult schedule, which might be another team that because they also have the Niners and the Rams and the Colts, and they don't have an easy schedule. Chiefs don't either, but I'm looking forward to eliminating a team. That's all.
Trash of the day. Let's get to it.
Look at that button.
Trash of the day.
The button got stuck, I think. All good. All right, so let me preface this by we can't call this brilliant because they got caught, right? It can't be brilliant if you got caught doing it. At the same time, creative is the word I will use to describe this story.
Okay.
So
creative criminal. You got to appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll go with creative, not brilliant because they got caught. There's an alleged scammer has been arrested under suspicion that he used AI to create a large number of songs and fake bands. So he would make fake songs and fake music, fake untold streams with more bots to earn millions in revenue. So basically, the Department of Justice announced there's this gentleman, 52-year-old man in North Carolina. He's been charged with a 7-year scheme that involved using his real-life music skills, Cody, to make more than $10 million in royalties.
I want $10 million.
He was indicted on 3 counts involving money laundering, wire fraud. He faces potentially 20 years per charge.
Ooh.
So what he did allegedly was he worked with 2 accomplices. One's a music promoter. The other's a CEO of an AI music firm. They created hundreds of thousands of songs. Then they put them on Spotify, and they had fake bots or these bots listen and got millions and millions of views, billions actually. And in turn, they made money off of that. And they got caught. That's why I said creative.
Too much money. This is the mistake. Make $150,000 in royalties. Maybe they never catch the AI song.
So that's why I said not brilliant because you got caught, but creative. Like this was a crime that you weren't able to commit probably 15 years ago.
New crime.
It's a new crime, but he provided a musician with thousands of songs on a weekly basis. This guy would then, in turn, use automation to generate tons of listens for the crappy tunes. The name of the songs, basically the songs that they provided originally were random numbers. But when they uploaded them to streaming platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, etc., he would change the names to words like Zimmy Bedouing, Calm Scorching, Calorie Event, Calypso, Zord, Calvin Man.
Caloric Event's actually kind of a decent name.
When he was reached by the New York Times, my favorite part of the entire article, when this guy was reached by the New York Times for comments on these allegations of fraud and streaming platform manipulation, his statement was, quote, "This is absolutely wrong and crazy. There is absolutely no fraud going on whatsoever. How can I appeal this?"
How does he sound like a bot himself? Is he a real person? The person they're trying to charge with these crimes? Someone says, damn, you can get 60 years for this, but you can rob 17 banks.
Maximum of 60. He might end up getting 30. Who knows?
He might get less. Well, but that's not worse than what Chiefsaholic did was their point. Think about the amount of time he got in jail. He actually robbed
His
the
was
banks.
violent. This was not violent. But this guy did allegedly steal $10 million. From
millions
with basically fake listening.
1.2 million.
Yeah.
I guess the question I have is, had he used AI to create these songs and uploaded them to Spotify?
Yes.
And then it just turns out you liked the song, Gold. It got hot on TikTok.
Yeah, well, that's
and
not
got
fraud.
a bunch of streams. We're good, right?
Yeah, that's not fraud. You can use AI for music.
Yeah.
You can use AI to make music.
AI. I want to clear the air now. I have never once used any AI for my music. I will say that Matt Gapsky over at The Point sent me a mastered version of my Royals playoff song. He was like, hey, I want to help you out. And then he sent me a mastered. He personally mastered it just out of the kindness
play
of his
it
own
over
heart.
there. You can't play it over here till the 21st.
That's so many days from now. That's 11 days from now.
We already renegotiated once. So there's not a second.
Played it? Like, have you listened to it?
Yeah,
the
it sounds better.
Okay.
It sounds cleaner.
I was going to ask that, yeah.
But yeah,
apparently I need a producer, you know?
So as I said, creative idea.
Someone
not brilliant.
says, is it fraud, though? He just gamed the system, you know?
Of course it's fraud.
I mean, as soon as you said game the system, I think
gaming the system doesn't alleviate you from fraud. I want to be clear.
Do Spotify's terms and conditions say that a bot can't listen to my song? That's what I want to know.
Here's why it's fraud. You upload the music.
Yes.
You get compensated for advertising dollars based on people, real people, that listened to your stream. He had fake people, bots, listening to his stream, as in he defrauded their system to steal money. Just because you use the phrase, just gaming the system, doesn't mean it's not fraud. But I give him credit for being creative, as I said.
I still think you gotta, if you're gonna do the crime, you should less money to start. 10 million's too obvious, right? Or should you just go to like a country with non-extradition, take that $10 million and go see if you can live like a king in Bolivia?
He had 2 accomplices, so he was splitting that money around. 2 other people. I'm assuming they caught him because they looked at some of their top earners.
And they were like, Calypso caloric events, probably not it.
What kind of music is this? You know?
Yeah, that's tough. I've never and will never use AI to write my songs or to
You've used auto-tune, though. I think for one song, maybe.
I've never used auto-tune. The Creed is Good song was professionally, well, not professionally, it was a guy's garage. But
professionally editing is fun.
It was in a studio and professionally edited.
There's nothing wrong with auto-tune. Because it's you. T-Pain made who knows how much money off of auto-tune.
I liked it immediately. We all thought of T-Pain. The second he said auto-tune. That's the first artist we all think of as T-Pain.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
I'll be honest. I don't even know how to use auto-tune. If I tried to use it, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is in my editing software. I'd have to really dig.
Thank goodness.
You know what I mean?
Because if
that's like the one thing. That's like the one style of I've done rap on this show, but I've never done auto-tuned rap. That's a slightly different one.
We'd have to definitely get a T-Pain cover then for you.
Yeah.
A T-Pain
Which one?
beat. Buy You a Drink, I feel like, is just the one that would be funniest.
I don't know what I would.
I'm gonna buy. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what's the.
I'm trying to decide. Well, I'm trying to decide what I would cover. Well, I'd mentioned earlier on the show Love with the Stripper, so I mean, obviously that would make sense if we were going to go to the strip club at any point.
Yeah.
Or bartender if we go guest bartend somewhere else. I got nothing.
That one might be a good cover as well.
I'll consider future T-Pain works if I can figure out. Maybe Matt Gapsky can teach me how to auto-tune. He puts more production into his.
So are you going to upload your songs to Spotify? At least add money to the show fund?
Well, I guess the question is, am I allowed to because they're covers? Is that does that music belong to somebody else? As in, Twisted Sister's going to come after my ass if I throw this stuff up on Spotify.
Yeah, you might have to do a bit of digging.
Go send an email to the Odyssey attorneys and see what they say.
Before I start uploading stuff to Spotify? We'll find out. I'll do my best.
Someone says it's only fraud for those not in the music industry. It's complete BS. If somebody says they're going to pay you for real people listening and you make up fake people for listening, that's fraud. That's fraud.
They're not saying AI helping Dua Lipa write a song is illegal. They're saying if you
AI listening
bots
to your
listen to it is the problem. Yeah, it's different.
All right, coming up next, we'll get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold, and whether or not the Chiefs really should be this big of a favorite against Cincinnati and someone that is likely not to get paid. We'll explain that next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
I can't wait to watch the Chiefs go up and down the field and score a ton of points this year. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn fuel saver discounts equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save. Only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Flu season is here. Get your flu shot today at your local Hy-Vee pharmacy. It's easy, convenient, and no appointment is necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. That's right, a 20-cent fuel saver. Get your flu shot when it's convenient for you. Schedule online or just stop by your Hy-Vee pharmacy. No appointment necessary. Help your family stay healthy. Get your flu shot and get a 20-cent fuel saver only at Hy-Vee. See store for details. Some restrictions apply.
I'm ready for more NFL, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is continuing its special offer to keep us watching more. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob to download America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas, full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Celebrate your home team's Tully touchdown with Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. May your team be swift and their aim true. May the refs be forever in your favor and your whiskey always Tullamore Dew. Tullamore Dew, the original triple blended, triple distilled, smooth sipping Irish whiskey, made exactly for game day moments like this. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by William Grant & Sons Incorporated, New York, New York. Please enjoy Tullamore Dew responsibly.
Truck drivers, don't miss out on the unmatched consistency of a Schneider driving job. With our industry-leading selection of driving options, you'll find a job with the freight, home time, and schedule you've been looking for. Plus, Schneider drivers operate state-of-the-art, well-maintained equipment and have access to award-winning benefits and a 24/7 support team. Don't wait. Find a job that offers the stability you need to fuel your career. Search jobs and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Fall's coming. You have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve, so this fall make a plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
What if I told you that there was a single management software that could handle your CRM, accounting, manufacturing, marketing, inventory, sales, and everything in between for a fraction of the cost of the dozens of disconnected platforms most companies rely on to manage their business? Sounds pretty good, right? Well, that's Odoo. Odoo is the end-all, be-all for any business of any size, and it's ready to help your company reach the next level and beyond. Learn more at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
96.5 The Fan and Kansas Lottery are partnering to give you a chance to win big with Kansas Lottery's Chiefs World Champion Instant Ticket. Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to register to win a $30 prize pack and the $100,000 grand prize pack. It's all brought to you by 96.5 The Fan and Kansas Lottery. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
We'll get back into some comments from Derek Johnson. He was on with Fesco and Dusty earlier this week talking about Nick Bolton, Chiefs veteran linebacker. His thoughts on his performance, I think, stood out, obviously, for a variety of reasons. In particular, Isaiah Likely had a huge game and made a couple really nice plays with Nick Bolton in coverage. It was a mismatch there, but is that much different than what we've already seen? We'll get back to that, plus just where things are headed maybe long-term for Nick Bolton in a Chiefs uniform. Reminder, coming up a little bit later, we'll talk to Nate Taylor from The Athletic. We'll ask him about that very thing, the performance from Nick Bolton, among others. You guys are always welcome to join the show. 913-586-7965. That's the J Southland Tow Service text line. It's also the call-in number as well. And you can keep texting in occasionally throughout the show if you are interested in some tickets for the final homestand. We'll randomly pick some people. The Ticket Fairy has granted Cody more and more tickets.
I've handed out about 20 so far, but I still got like a couple of 4-packs left, or
trying to pack the
packs.
K. Trying to pack the K for the final homestand here in a week or so. And yesterday, multiple people were listening. You got a text like immediately from somebody too, right after the show.
Member of the Royals organization immediately messaged me, and then I reached out to somebody else and got some more. I borderline almost asked JJ, like, "Hey JJ, can you get me a few?" Not for me, for other people. We want people out at the K. Do you mind sending me a few tickets so I can pass them along to other people?
Yeah, we'll randomly pick some people. If you text in, drop your email address, first and last name, and we'll randomly pick. There's obviously no guarantee that anybody's getting them. We'll just randomly select.
Yeah, I'm just kind of just like going off vibes.
But just someone's trying the bribery angle, telling you your songs are great. I don't think
I'm not Drew. I won't cave to this pressure.
Oh damn!
Didn't he give somebody a guillotine league spot just because they said "Go Bengals" or something?
I mean, he did.
I don't remember what they said.
Someone's trying.
I didn't get anything in return, though. It wasn't bribery. It was just let me in.
Someone texted already and said, "Cody, I love your singing. Most beautiful voice. Give me tickets." See, I don't know. But anyway, keep an eye on those. Some of you have been fortunate enough already to be contacted and won a couple of those. But let's talk some Chiefs football here for a second. I know we're multiple days away, but it'll be here before we know it. Sunday will not take that long. Next thing you know, we'll be at kickoff Sunday afternoon right here on 96.5 The Fan when it's Mahomes versus Joe Burrow again. The Chiefs are anywhere from -5.5 to 6-point favorites in this one. And that went up 2.5 points or so from where the early look-ahead lines were. And it has to do, of course, not only how the Chiefs look, but how Cincinnati looked and their loss to New England. And then more and more news right now, seeming like T. Higgins is unlikely to play. We'll see. And then Jamar Chase, I assume, will be full go in practice this week, I would think, knowing that he's playing the Chiefs.
I would think so.
It will probably be back to his normal self on Sunday. That's a lot of points for a matchup where these two teams historically have always been close.
Every single game between the Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. I want to make that clear because last year the Jake Browning Chiefs game was an 8-point deficit. But every game in which Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow are on the field together has been settled by not around or near exactly 3 points, one way or the other. Every single one of their games has been decided by a field goal. I was surprised by this amount of line movement. This felt like I would call a dramatic overreaction for what we would typically say week one is a bit of a liar, especially when you consider the fact that, what do you think? 20 quarterbacks in the NFL had Joe Burrow's stat line? Like 15 of 30 for 165 yards and a touchdown or no touchdowns? That was Aaron Rodgers' line last night. That was Kyler Murray's line. That was his. That was like every quarterback line. The average air yards per completion in the NFL in week one this year was 5.4 yards. There was not some bevy of excellent quarterback play that rushed through the league in week one. There were like 5 dudes who looked pretty good, and everyone else kind of average or straight up stunk. And so 6 points, that felt like a swing in the way that, like, what convinced everyone? Sharp's money would have to be on some of this to move a line by 2.5 points, or a ton of public money. So what convinced everyone in watching those two games that the Chiefs are now a touchdown better than a team who has been pretty consistently in the playoffs the last 2 years?
Some of it will be interesting to see the injury news as the week progresses, when we get official confirmation on T. Higgins and Hollywood Brown, for that matter. You know, he's still up in the air. You and I both are trending towards him probably not playing, but they haven't ruled him out, and we'll see what the practice reports are over the next couple days in terms of how much of a participant, if he's a participant at all, and what that could mean. Maybe that sways some people some more. I'm with you that just on the surface, I haven't made a bet yet for the game, and that betting show, I'll have a new episode out a little bit later on this week. You can download the podcast. By the time we get there, maybe it changes. Right this second, if you made me make a bet, I would probably take the Bengals to cover just based off of how close these matchups are. I mean, we definitely are going to learn a ton about them on Sunday. If they were to lose by more than 6, and in an NFL circle, when you get above a touchdown, you're starting to get where usually is more towards a blowout, depending on the exact circumstance. Was it a garbage time touchdown or not, or something? That would say a lot about this year's Cincinnati team versus the past. Now, they typically don't play Cincy this early in the season, right? I mean, don't they? Normally, they're playing a little bit
15,
later.
16, 17 weeks
So
of the
this is
season.
earlier in the year. Maybe that changes it. The games, that's my only hesitation on just looking, Cody, at the historical last 6 matchups. They have been playoffs, and they have been, what Drew said there, late. And early in the season, we know Cincinnati doesn't play well. By the time it gets later in the year, they're clicking. The Chiefs are also clicking. Really competitive, good football games.
Yeah.
There is a chance, and there's part of me that's like, okay, my hesitation is if Cincy's just not clicking, and they sure as hell weren't last week, maybe this will be the outlier of the series. This one won't be as competitive. But normally 6 points is a lot between these two teams.
That's exactly what my point is. I still think by Friday, when we have this conversation, I'm going to tell you that I think the Chiefs are going to win because they're at home.
Oh, well, just
They've
winning,
got,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're at home. They've got a 10-day rest. Cincinnati has historically, under Zach Taylor, played like garbage the first month of the season. There's a million reasons why they should favor it. But every single one of their games comes down to the bitter damn end. And I think there's a couple reasons why. One, I think it's the best rivalry in the NFL right now. I think this is the number one rivalry in the sport. And when it's the number one rivalry in the sport, I treat it a lot like division games. And division games get weird. They either get weird and they're 38-35, or they get weird as in the final score of this game is 13-10. I would still assume the Chiefs are the victor this time out, but I do kind of think this game's going to be close. And I'm surprised that it got up to 6.5, I think, right after the game. And then later on in that time, got up to a different range later on too. So like it got down to 5.5. Now it's back at 6, depending on the book. I would tell you to line shop if you want the Chiefs end of this thing, or if you want the Bengals end, get that half point if it's available somewhere across the board. Yeah, but I think it's a little too high.
The other part too with this this kind of track record between these two teams that I'll be curious to see is, going into the game, like the confidence level later in the year, I think the pressure, of course, ramps up fan base wise. The players are starting to sense the urgency. Week 2, now the Chiefs, not from a player perspective, But from a fan perspective, the fact that Chiefs just beat the Ravens on the opener, there's way less. I don't know about you. Like heading into this game Sunday, obviously want the Chiefs to win. It's a huge swing if they win in terms of the number one seed, as we discussed, and things like that, and it sets the tone. But the nerves are not going to be there. And it's not just that I think they're going to destroy the Bengals. It's that it's week 2 of the season. And you already, if the Chiefs were 0-1, if Isaiah Likely's toe is in bounds and they go for 2 and they win, we'd be saying, oh man, you got to avoid going 0-2. This is some people would be calling it a must-win game in week 2. Like you'd have that kind of crazy stuff going on. Because you win week 1, from a fan base perspective, there doesn't seem to be as much pressure. But I will say ticket prices for this game have been insane since the offseason anyway, because as what you said, this has become a great rivalry in the NFL. I'm curious the latest. I don't know, Drew, at one point in time you were talking about going, or if you're going to go, I don't know if you're covering it. Or if
were you able to get some tickets via the company?
I have not
You should just go as, you got a press pass, just go. You haven't been to Arrowhead. Why wouldn't you go the year?
Because he wants to watch the game.
Because he's worried they're going to lose.
No, that actually is not the reason.
You want to give full emotion?
I want to give full emotion.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be able to, it's going to be
true.
really
Be quiet in the
difficult
press
to
box.
contain it in the press box. Yes,
Right
I want to be
now,
respectful.
Let's see. I'm trying to see
300 minimum
with fees. Hold on. I mean, it's
Oh,
always,
yeah. That's the kicker.
You got to add the fee part. Otherwise, it's
and parking.
Yes, parking as well.
And your $20 glizzy.
I mean, you could eat before. Tailgate is
tailgate.
great
Oh,
at
yeah.
Arrowhead.
Eating before is the move, yes.
Yeah, this is in Indianapolis, Drew. We got tailgating, you know.
There's tailgating in Indianapolis, but it also costs $10 to park across the street.
$246 with fees is the cheapest. We're talking
Well, that's not
section
bad.
330, top right corner, row
Jordan
42.
loves mom seats.
Yeah, last row.
That's what those are referred to as forever
As
forward.
Gold is not touching these seats anymore. Seats.
We're
yeah.
talking that I would not make it to the top of the steps, not because of conditioning, because of vertigo and just would.
You'd stand in the opening for how you get up the
my
stairs.
reaction of just I couldn't sit there. I honestly couldn't sit there.
246 is
Yeah,
actually a lot
do
better
it.
than what
Just
it
drink a
was.
little. Does that help or hurt?
Oh, drinking probably makes it worse. There's no way it makes it better.
I told you the issue. It's not the view isn't good. It is the height thing now. And it's multiple people texted in when I brought this up earlier. They said someone else. They said good to hear from someone else that also suffers from this weird height thing all of a sudden in the last 7 years or so. It's not a problem before. It always was like, oh wait, this is pretty high up, but not the same thing now. And it's one of those where I would be grabbing onto the seat and I would be so uncomfortable the whole game. I wouldn't make it. I'd have to go back down.
Yeah. You'd have to get.
Oh, dude.
You'd just be buying a ticket anywhere in the lower. You get on StubHub looking for a single.
Can't do it anymore.
Yeah. All right. Fine.
I will not be. If I can make it, I'm not going to be able to drop that amount of money.
I think you just. I
go
get
to
you
the
want to
game.
watch it as a fan, so I understand it. But it's just like, man, you have Cincinnati was
I
here
know.
last year. You didn't go. Now you have a press pass. You haven't had Arrowhead experience. You didn't go last
You
Thursday.
gotta go eventually.
Like, when are you going to go? You wait.
Well,
what are you
no,
waiting for?
I will go when that's why I was asking Specky yesterday when looking ahead to the schedule. Like when am I going to be able to go to a game at Arrowhead? That's going to be the, the
Like
game that
immediately,
goes.
there's somebody be like, Drew, send me $100 and I will get you a ticket to the game. You're like, come on, man. We made Drew whole that day. He still sold his couch to a listener. What was the listener's name? Who bought your couch?
Zach.
Zach, let us know how that couch is gone. I want a review. How's that couch treating you, Zach?
It wasn't, if I remember right, he didn't put it in like his house or his apartment or whatever. It was in like a.
That's true. You see this top text?
Not a barn.
That top text.
From
I
the
don't know
651.
if they're messing with you or not. But
Drew, my girlfriend is getting sick. I may have an extra ticket.
Does that mean that you're not getting sick either?
What do you, dude? You gotta risk it. I don't know what to say. You gotta risk it. Unless this guy's like,
yeah.
I mean, like blowing out his pants 4 minutes before the game. You just gotta go. Risk's a risk. This man's offering you a ticket.
Oh my goodness. Sounds as Drew, you've been knowing about this game for over a year. No excuse not to make it.
Some people aren't as financially.
No, he's talking about
able as
you have a press pass, man. You have a press pass.
That doesn't matter. If the Bengals.
Someone says, Cody, they'll get Drew tickets, but you have to go to the strip club, and pay off your bet and put $1
Wait,
in a
what?
stripper's waistline.
What does this have to do with me?
Perfect.
That way Drew can go and you pay off the bet. Don't you want to help out
It's
Drew?
a win. It's a win-win.
Win-win for
Do I have to go
everybody.
with this person, or just like I just got to go like on a Thursday night this week?
They're willing to give Drew tickets. Drew, think about that. Cody, if Cody really wanted to help you out, he could. Right now, he could.
Well,
right
technically,
now.
it's like costing me. It's like I'm buying Drew cheap tickets.
Oh, it's going to cost you
$40.
$40.
Yeah,
max.
something like that. $40. Put $1 in,
And then Cody just leaves.
How long do I got to stay for?
Cody
30
literally
minutes?
Cody walks in, pays the cover. He just goes real quick.
They're gonna think that that's like some weird.
Mercedes. And he goes up there and he's and he just drops the folds the $1 bill, and then he leaves.
Which one do people suggest in town? Oh
gosh.
What? That's a serious question.
I'm assuming the one that, God forbid, if it got torn down for a baseball stadium, we couldn't live without. That one, probably.
Totally nude or whatever that's called?
Probably that one.
Somebody said maybe Drew doesn't want to see such a bad team in person. I've been to games where the Bengals have been bad. So, yeah, I've seen my fair share of bad football. I just don't want to be the person that is there and Harrison Butker drills a 52-yard field goal to win the game or something, and I'm just like, dude, I don't want to go down to I don't want to go to the locker room. I'm going home.
That's why you need to be. But that's why you need to be there. Especially if you're in the stands as a fan. The social media video of me interviewing you as you're walking out of the game would be great.
It would be kind of great if you guys sat next to each other. That would make it even better.
Or I'm just it would be so tempting. I'd have to remove myself from my seat and go back to like the wherever the food is and be on my own and like give a fist bump or whatever,
Fandom is in fairness, I don't think Chiefs fans are going to fight you because you're cheering for your team. It's not like an opposing fan.
No, I'm talking
never
about
sat in a seat.
I'm talking about if I'm in the box.
Oh yeah.
No, the stuff in the crowd is
control it.
The stuff in the crowd. I mean, for the AFC title game 2 years ago, even 2 years ago, I was in the stands and there were fans right next to us, and people were you got a little smack talk. But as long as nobody's like getting in your face and like screaming in your ear intentionally, and then everything's fine.
I'm very anti-controversial in the fact of if the Bengals suck and you're trash, what am I supposed to say? If the Bengals score a touchdown, I'm going to celebrate the Bengals touchdown. I'm not going to rub it in your face. I don't. Of course, it's never. Why should I care about you? I'm caring about the game.
Yeah,
100%. But yeah, I will be. I'm excited for this week. It is not the Bengals Super Bowl in my mind. In some it is, but yeah.
In some fans' mind, yes.
I will say this. I did already write down the Bengals to cover in our station.
6 is a lot of points.
Remember, the bet is straight up, though. Our pending bet, you to dye your hair, you to get a Sean Barber tattoo.
Correct.
The McDonald's, we did have a switch on the McDonald's bet. We did talk to the boss yesterday. That will take place on a weekend on social media. It will not be able to take place during the show.
Gold and I wanted to be sitting in the place. Just
I don't know about that.
Are
that's
you
a little
sure?
weird. I don't know about that, but we
Where
wanted
my
to be,
kids can hang out.
We were going to be at the McDonald's. Whoever loses the bet, it's going to have to be on a weekend. We'll let you know more on that. It's not going to be during the show.
Either way, it's going to stink.
Did we determine the 24 hours? Is it 24 hours? Is that what we're doing? 24 hours?
Final decision.
Or 12.
Based on the fact that it has to take place on a weekend.
The McDonald's. I need to get the.
Should it be 24 hours or should it be 12? Because if it's 12 hours, you can probably get it down to 6.
Well, if it's 12,
If it's 24, you can probably get down to 12.
If it's 12, I think you should look though at the amount of time that's taken off should be cut in half because you're cutting the 24 hours in half to 12. So you should still have to eat as much food to be able to get out of there as you would previously.
So
some McDonald's aren't even open 24 hours anymore.
No, that's my other issue. Truthfully, is
you have to leave and
you got to get there at 6 a.m. and you got to be there till 6 p.m. I mean, 12, if it's a 24 hours, if we do 12 hours and you can get it down to 6, then noon to 6, 6 to noon,
that would be a miserable day too.
No matter what, it's gonna stink, dude. There's just no chance. This is not changing the terms of the bet. The game hasn't occurred yet. We can decide what the correct number is.
I was trying to find the chart that we had, the spreadsheet that had like the assigned.
Oh no, is it gone?
I'll have to find it. It's on the internet somewhere. We had an old show rundown or something like that.
Yeah, we'll find it.
Trying to figure out the exact. Oh, here I found it. Here we go. All right, so the reduction on some of these. So, for example, if you had a McChicken, 45 minutes off the clock.
Oh, man, you almost have to do. 12 hours.
McChicken plain.
I've done it in like 3 hours.
Are you allowed to get it plain, no mayo
I
and
think
stuff?
So, yeah.
McNuggets per 10, 30. See, we were talking to Dusty about this. He's like, I'll just do 50 McNuggets. That's not worth it.
McChicken's the better
You
value.
do 50. It's
How much was a hash brown again?
Is it 20 minutes?
25 minutes per hash brown. So you do. Can you make it through 10 of those? Can you knock off 250 minutes?
I think you can knock out 10. I know.
So
it's
do we want to do
greasy,
12 hours, 18 hours, or 24? We got to
12.
make a decision.
I'm good with 12. That's fine with me.
There's a legal. Let's be honest. There's a legal part of this that we're going to run into a problem with this company. We try to
If we do 12, though, Drew is correct that McChicken that's 45 is actually now 25.
Well, here's the thing.
I think you have to change the timing.
We can change it to make the timing the way we want it to be. Okay. I agree to that. But let's do 12 hours, and then we can assign our own value of time to it.
Okay. Deal. I'm very good with that?
Yes.
Right. So, Drew, you'll be here for 12 hours.
You guys need to. I'm telling you, like I said yesterday, you guys need to put more on the line for yourselves because if you're that confident,
I'll repeat what I said yesterday as well.
If you're that confident, man,
I'll repeat what I said yesterday. We agreed to all these terms a month and a half ago, and I'm not going to negotiate against myself. Throw me something and we'll talk. I'm not going to offer. That's not how this works.
I'll bake you your favorite dessert too. Okay, Drew. That's what I got for you.
Really?
What do you like to eat?
That is weak.
What? It's better than you're offering. You've offered nothing.
I told you. I'm not going to negotiate against myself. Why would I do that?
I negotiated against myself twice.
Well, that's not. I mean,
I technically I know it's my fault.
Actually, in fairness, Barber forced you into a second negotiation. The hair dyeing. The problem was the original.
The hair dye. That was the original bet, I guess. It was the hair dye and the McDonald's. I am going to get that hat from Barber, though. Either way, I do feel like I deserve that.
I'm actually with you on that one. Because if you're offering up a tattoo, the hat should be yours.
I told Barber that, because Barber said you don't get the hat if the Chiefs win. He wants the hat in the Cody and Gold garage sale.
Nah.
You said no. I said, I think he gets the hat because of the tattoo. He said, Drew made all these bets. You're not allowed to back down.
Originally, you said
he says he made the ratio/hat bet. Stand by his decision or not.
Look, if I don't get to keep the hat, then I don't know how that changes things because a tattoo is a tattoo. I mean,
I still can't believe you agreed to get a number 59 tattoo if the Chiefs win.
No,
you know, again, the Chiefs. There's no guarantee they win. You're right. It's the NFL, but they are also not just like it's not a pick 'em. They are 6-point favorites, and you made a bet.
Well, in fairness, he didn't know it was going to be a 6. It was 3 points 2 days ago.
Correct.
Hold on, but it's not like Joe Burrow's out of the game all of a sudden.
And it was always at
the
Arrowhead.
Bengals just stunk it up in Week 1.
Well, and look, there's no excuses because I am going to pay off the bet.
I'm just saying when he made the bet, he probably thought it was going to be 2.5
And
points.
T. Higgins was not dealing with the hamstring issue.
But it's the same team.
I know.
It's the same team. Nothing has changed about your football team other than Jamar Chase being another whiny baby again.
Which again is why the Chiefs. There's no excuse if they lose to this Bengals team.
I wonder if theme 1. If we look back at the end of the season, we get to like week 18. Then we'll decide the theme of week 1 was. It turns out injured quarterbacks aren't sharp coming back from injury. Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow. It turns out taking 6 months off of playing competitive NFL football makes you less good at football when you first start the season. I wonder if that'll be the theme of week 1 by the time that we're all established.
100%, Drew. That's exactly what I was about to say. That's the other part of this. All those quarterbacks you listed, Burrow, Rodgers, and Cousins, none of them played a snap in the preseason, which I think is a mistake.
After not playing for 5 months before that, 6 months before, whatever. So, Aaron Rodgers' case, 12 months.
Well, that might be part of the Zach Taylor problem is that Joe he played one series this preseason, but in his whole career, he had never played in the preseason. And it's like, Patrick Mahomes played in 2 out of the 3 games, correct? And Andy runs a harder training camp. So, and you look at who had the best, you could say out of watching Week 1, you could argue that even though there were some mistakes here and there, the Ravens and the Chiefs look like 2 of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
All right, up next, we'll get to what's trending, then we get right back into the Royals and what this bullpen could look like in about 3 weeks.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Been a little dry in Kansas City lately, but it was storming this summer. We had a lot of big ones come through Kansas City. hail, wind, and then now the winter's going to get ready to come around the corner and take advantage of your roof. Don't let somebody come knock on your door and be like, well, I'll take care of it. Trust a company that's been working in the Kansas City area for as long as you can remember. CenturyRoofingKC.com wants to take care of your roofs and has been voted best roofing company in Johnson County for 3 straight years. 34 years of company experience in Kansas City. With a warranty, you know that they'll be able to stand behind and honor because they're going to keep working in Kansas City. That's what matters here. 3 years in a row by your neighbors telling you that they're the best roofing company in Kansas City. That's not by accident. It's because they've installed over 30,000 roofs in the greater Kansas City area since 1990. Doesn't matter if you need asphalt or concrete tile or standing seam metal roofing. They'll handle all the different standard shingle, everything inside of that. Doesn't matter the roof replacement job. We're talking about 30,000 roofs. I can promise you they can handle your project. They offer free roof replacement estimates and repair estimates. I told you they're doing a repair on my roof as well, so you can take care of those things ahead of a busy winter. Schedule your estimate today from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to CenturyRoofingKC.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
BetMGM presents Upping the Action with Jamie Foxx.
When you bet this baseball season, you're not just watching the game. You're in it with the bases loaded, bottom of the ninth. Your money line is on the line. With a drive to left field, the runner goes home. That's your money line, and you called it from the top of the first. It's raining popcorn and sunflower seeds. This baseball season, download the BetMGM app.
And get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers not available in Nevada, New York, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. for New York. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. Puerto Rico, call 1-800-981-0023. West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Did you know that you can now use your own body's healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get you real lasting pain relief? Hey, it's Bob Fesco. And if you're waking up this morning and your knees hurt or your back hurts, I've got the solution for you. It's advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. So if you're tired of that arthritic pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. People here are raving about the results. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain, without drugs or surgery or downtime. They've got tens of thousands of satisfied patients, and the consultation is totally free. So call now, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
At Main Street Credit Union, your success is our goal. Whether you're a financial rookie or a pro, we're here to help. If you're looking to pay down debt, improve your credit score, or buy a car, we'll be right there with you. We're dedicated to providing guidance, education, and essential resources to empower you on your journey toward financial success. We'll help you understand your financial options so even financial rookies will be on their way to reaching their goals. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence dyne test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their valuable tools, but to protect their professional reputations. For pros, the WeatherGuard badge makes a statement about what drives them. It says, "Bring it on. Been there. Done that. We've got your back," without saying a word. And the folks at WeatherGuard, they're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. See what it means to be driven at weatherguard.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Tune in to Vern's On Deck Show 1 hour before first pitch on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Number one on What's Trending, the Royals and Yankees in action again tonight, right here on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan, 6:05 first pitch. Vern's On Deck Show at 5 o'clock. It'll be Seth Lugo going up against Marcus Stroman. We know the Royals dropped last night's game, and so the latest in the standings, Royals 3.5 back in the American League Central behind the Guardians. The Twins, who are behind the Royals, as we know, by multiple games now, just 3 in their last 10. Guardians have won 6 out of their last 10, but the Royals in the wild card race still looking good. But of course, last night had a decent outing from Brady Singer. We're going to talk more about the bullpen coming up after What's Trending.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good ride lately for the bullpen, but then things turn pretty quickly, obviously, when you have one really bad outing, especially in Yankee Stadium, where any mistake is likely to end up in God knows where. Just a million different seats. That's what matters. Next up on What's Trending, reported yesterday from multiple sources, the Browns have a new wide receiver, and I swear to God, this is the word they used, weapon, Kadarius Toney, to sign a deal on the practice squad at the moment with the Cleveland Browns. You think that's going to work out for Cleveland?
I'm sure it'll be great. Yes. Finally, Deshaun Watson has some weapons around him. Kadarius Toney, I believe, is he signed to the practice squad? It's not an active roster, is it?
Yes,
practice
squad.
Practice squad spot. The Chiefs play the Browns in December.
Do you think they'll get to see their guy?
I think he'll be on. I think he'll be on their practice squad and maybe activated at some point this year. Yeah.
My working theory is they signed him so that somebody would be worse on offense than Deshaun Watson, which was tough to do because he's terrible. Speaking of,
yeah, there's a new update here with Deshaun Watson off the field. There was a new lawsuit filed Monday in Texas. He's been accused now of a 2020 sexual assault. The lawsuit, a copy of which was obtained by CBS Sports, was filed by the same attorney who represented many of the 25-plus women that previously sued Watson for varying degrees of sexual assaults. Remember, the prior lawsuits were settled out of court. Then the NFL suspended Deshaun Watson 11 games, but he's being accused of sexual assault and battery in the latest lawsuit. Woman referred to as Jane Doe alleges that an extremely disturbing encounter with Watson occurred at her home in October of 2020. We'll see what comes of all of this, but yet again, another lawsuit filed.
Guessing he'll have to settle again like he had to do with the previous ones. He can fight every individual case in court if he wants, but you know the Browns owe you $270 million, and cold hard cash, you should just like the normal thing, use your brain. What do you think? 70 people made up the same story? Clearly had a pattern. Next up on What's Trending, Mike Tomlin was speaking to the media today about their starting quarterback situation and said that as of right now, they're preparing as if Justin Fields is their starter this week. Said on Wednesday, Russell Wilson will meet with team doctors to get that calf looked at again. It sounded like he was kind of close to maybe starting this week. They held him out a week, went with Justin Fields. Justin Fields won, which we know now means he'll probably get a second week if he goes, and I don't know who they play this week, but if they go 2-0, well, then Justin Fields is going to get to keep that job for a little while. His passing chart and Aaron Rodgers' passing charts are both hilarious. Do you see Justin Fields? He did not throw a single pass to the middle of the field. He threw it to the outside of the left or the outside of the right. There was not a single dot in the middle of the field that Justin Fields tossed.
Yeah, that's the reason why I want Russell Wilson to start. What Drew just said. Steelers
Former
are
team.
playing the Broncos,
Sean
Cody,
Payton.
this week. I kind of want
Sean Payton probably
somehow
wants it too.
Russell Wilson to play Sean Payton in the Broncos because that would be fun.
Do you? Bo Nix's
That would be
passing
fun.
chart was not good. In passes over 10 yards, he was 2 of 12 for 42 yards and 2 interceptions.
At least he was taking shots because there was.
It's not good if it's 42 yards and 2 interceptions and he only completed 2 of 12.
I mean, he made some mistakes. It's not like they're asking him to be Caleb Williams.
Not made some mistakes, Drew. He went 2 of 12 in passes over 10 yards. That's not a far distance.
I know, and Caleb Williams had more incompletions than completions.
Well, his team
and
won.
And he had 90 yards. Not because of him.
Correct.
They're lucky they scored.
And then lose because
Who was it? Was it Brian Callahan, who's now the head coach
But
of
here's the thing.
the Titans? He said basically they would have been better off just
yeah.
punting
Oh,
every
yeah.
down. No, you wouldn't have because the punt was blocked and returned for a touchdown
I'll be
in the
honest.
game.
How much do you hate your quarterback, though? Oh, my goodness. To openly say I'd rather have punted any down than have Will Levis throw the ball.
I'm definitely not saying they won because of Caleb Williams because that would be inaccurate. But if Caleb Williams had thrown 2 interceptions, they'd lose. That's what happened to
He
Bo
didn't
Nix.
make mistakes.
Yeah.
He
That's
made mistakes.
a massive. Taking shots if they lead to mistakes is not a good thing. Both of his interceptions were like the 15, 20-yard mark.
That's what's trending. Here on Cody and Gold, a reminder coming up at 1 o'clock today, Nate Taylor of The Athletic, our Chiefs insider, going to join us as he does each and every Tuesday on the show. And, he'll be in studio right here on 96.5 The Fan. Looking forward to having Nate. Last time we were at a Rally House when we had him, I have to ask Nate about it. We didn't mention it on air at the time. Did you? We were at Rally House last week.
Yeah.
And we go to commercial break. And he takes his headset off. We're all just sitting there shooting the you-know-what. And a very nice lady came by. Said, "Oh, did you play? I didn't."
That was so funny.
And I was like,
Said, "Do you play for the Chiefs?" And he's like, "No,
He's
I
like,
don't."
"No." She's like, "Well, did you play? You played college football?" He's like, "No."
High school. That was
It's like, "Oh, I did in high school." She's like, "Oh, okay," and walked away. We didn't bring it up at the time. When Nate comes back, I got to ask him his reaction. He played it off super cool. I was like, "Okay, all righty, okay."
It's like, "What's your name?" He's like,
All
"Nate
right.
Taylor." "Do you play?" "No." And this is not a knock on Nate. He's in much better shape than me. Beat me in a hot dog derby. Kudos to Nate.
No, I'm getting at the fact that she just assumed he played.
Nate does not look like he's ready to step up and play safety either. Okay.
Yeah.
Nate's ready to strap up the chin strap right now. You know, he's ready to go. Put the helmet on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You caught that last week,
Oh, I
right?
did.
Okay,
Yeah, it was
just
funny.
making sure.
Yeah, we'll ask Nate about it coming
That's
up at
funny.
1 o'clock. It was very funny. The Royals last night, so it's frustrating one because just a close game, 4-4 late. It was 4-3, 3-4, 3-3, right? Back and forth kind of game. Royals, I thought they were going to win the game when Bobby Witt Jr. scored on a missed pop-up from first because he was running his ass off in an all-time hustle play. When you're talking about you got to be on your horse the entire time on a pop-up to try to actually score that. Bobby comes around to score, and I think, all right, they're going to win it. And instead what happens is the bullpen implodes. Specifically, James MacArthur implodes, causing them massive headaches. Now, I'll say, and this is not, I thought Brady Singer pitched well, but I'll just tell you, in any start for the Royals right now, in which a starter only goes 5 innings, the bullpen's got a 50-50 chance to implode because you got to go through 4, and they only got 3 guys they trust. Bubich, Long, and Urseg, I think they trust. Yeah, they'll throw Schreiber in the mix. They trust him a little too. But the only guys they trust to go, get through a game, not give up a single run are the three I just mentioned. And so when MacArthur came in and blew it up, it had you and I both asking the normal question, which is 2.5 weeks from now, when this team is hypothetically getting their playoff schedule, or 3 weeks from now when they're getting their playoff schedule, what does the bullpen look like? Urseg, Long, Bubich, Lynch, and Schreiber, we all agreed are locks. You and I said we're locked in. So who are the final three arms?
Yeah, you're really talking about whether for the final three spots, Marsh, Hernandez, Harvey, MacArthur, Lorenzen, or Singer. That's what it's coming down to.
I'm guessing Lorenzen and Singer are two of them based on the way JJ Picollo talked to us earlier.
In a 3-game series, that's what you're discussing. In a 7-game series, obviously Singer at that point is in the rotation. But if you're looking at a 3-game series, I think it's going to come down to Hunter Harvey's health. We had JJ Picollo on the show earlier. We asked him kind of what the latest is. He acknowledged that it's taken a lot, longer than they thought it would for him to recover. He acted like, it wouldn't take too long to get him back up and basically running, if you will. But he, is not ready yet. And you're 2.5
like
weeks.
he was getting ready. Yeah, he said Lorenzen could be available this weekend. He didn't make it sound like that was the case for Harvey.
So if Harvey is getting an opportunity to pitch before the end of the regular season, like even if it's one outing, then I think he's in it. But if Harvey doesn't pitch the rest of the regular season, how can I have him in my playoff bullpen? That's just how I view it. So then that's the spot. I think you're talking about, if you think there is one spot left, even to me, Hernandez, Harvey, MacArthur for that one spot, because I'm with you. Urseg, Long, Bubich, Lynch, Schreiber are locks. Do you need Alec Marsh in the bullpen if you already have Daniel Lynch? And I don't think so.
Especially because in that first series, so let's just pretend they're in the wild card round because that's where they are right now. They're going to play a 3-game road series. They will not need a fourth starter. You cannot justifiably build a bullpen that includes Marsh, Lorenzen, and Singer and Lynch.
You don't need that kind of long relief.
You don't need 4 guys who can pitch 3 innings. Nobody's going to go into a postseason that way. Earlier when JJ was on the show, he described Hunter Harvey in this way. He said, well, it wouldn't take much to get him up. He is a single-inning reliever. Which is actually technically what, in my opinion, they need. Which means if Hunter Harvey is not healthy, you should all prepare for the eventuality that is the person who replaces Hunter Harvey when not healthy is James MacArthur. I understand the frustration with MacArthur. I'm not trying to defend him because we did MacArthur's 9th Infantry. It's not about that. What I'm telling you is the facts of his season, which is he goes 8 straight outings where he's really good, and the outing after that, he gets creamed. Beyond creamed. He loses. He doesn't give the team a chance to win a game. We talk about that from the starters. They just don't have a chance to win the game when that 9th time when he comes in and he gets shelled, it's over. But if you happen to catch MacArthur in a hot run, you could do worse if you need a single-inning reliever. The problem is it'd rather be Hunter Harvey. That was the point behind the trade, what they gave up in the trade, and what was available. Part of the reason we said the trade could still work, even if it hasn't worked to this point because the injury is, well, at least they've got him for next year too. But at this point, it does not feel like that Hunter Harvey injury is moving anywhere. Says he's going to throw off a mound a little bit. I guess if his back doesn't hurt, maybe he'll throw a little bit more off a mound. But if we're talking about his availability, you and I both probably know that we're not talking about a game until somewhere in the 20s, maybe, in which he'd be throwing simulated games against, guys in Arizona. I'd like it to be Harvey, but at least it's Urseg, Long, Bubich, Lynch, Schreiber.
That's better than what it was 3 weeks ago.
That was better.
Yeah.
Way better than it was 2 months ago.
Wow, sure.
That's a
Urseg wasn't even on the team.
Well, and Bubich wasn't on the major league roster, and at that time, 6 weeks, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks, if I had told you that one of the guys in the bullpen you liked was Daniel Lynch, you would have called me. You'd have been like, stop it. You have tried to make that happen too many times, man. Stop it.
Well,
and you would have been fair in saying that.
At least we've pivoted to the bullpen because the rotation thing I'm still 100% done with.
And they found a role that seemingly has really worked for him. That's all.
No, absolutely they have. So, this will be, JJ acknowledged when he joined us the kind of the tough decisions they have. They don't want to look ahead because they don't want to jeopardize anything or jinx anything essentially for the playoffs. They haven't clinched a playoff spot yet, but acknowledge that they have to start having some conversations and think about it.
I want to answer a real question. The text line says, so why can't just Singer or Marsh or Lorenzen just pitch 1 inning? So maybe one can. Maybe the guy you decide's never going to start a postseason game for you. And that would likely be, obviously, Lorenzen or Marsh, the 2 guys who have shared the 5th starter spot. Okay, fine. Maybe one of those guys can pitch 1 inning and we can go full bore across there. I'll tell you a couple of things, though. They don't want Marsh pitching maximum effort, I don't think, because of the way that they protected his innings, because they think he matters for 2025. Lorenzen, kind of in a similar boat. And just because you won't need them in the wild card round to start, you will need one of them if you advance to the next 2 or 3 series. You might need both of them. So you don't want to change their role for one 3-game series and then have to go back to it. So you're kind of stuck in no man's
Not to have multiple in the bullpen, but you still would.
You don't want him just throwing 12 pitches. You actually want him throwing 3 or 4 innings.
Yeah, but they'll have somebody or two that are capable of eating up some innings if you need it. Because as you know, if it's a game 3 of a wild card series, it's do or die. If it's game 3, 7th
but
inning.
If it's game 2 and you're down 9-1, well, then Lynch is going to come in and toss 3.
But if it's a game 3 and all hands are on deck, you're not at that point. You say, screw it. We're not worried about worrying about the divisional series. You got to go and win that game, right? So all these scenarios can change and how you approach a particular series. But
you just don't need 5 long guys. That's all. Which is a multi-inning.
Some of it too. Let's be honest.
Lynch is a multi-inning.
How over the next 2.5 weeks, what do any of these names look like? I mean, hopefully everybody's healthy too. But what does Carlos Hernandez look like in the final 2.5 weeks? What does MacArthur look like in his next 2 or 3 outings he gets before the end of the season?
I'll tell you, for the next 8 outings, it'll be pretty good.
Probably.
That 9th one's going to be rough. September 25th, you can all text me when I guess he gives up like a 3-run bomb in the 7th, because he's been wildly consistent this year, just not consistent in the way most people talk. Like, we talk about consistency as it can only mean good. He's not been consistently good. He has been consistent. His season could be tracked on a calendar. I could almost tell you when he's getting ready to get blown up.
There are a lot of people on the text line that say MacArthur's infantry is completely decimated. Look,
I'll never give up.
How many generals are batting 1,000? None.
Undefeated.
None.
Show me an undefeated general.
None.
What about Washington? What was his? He lost some battles, right?
It is not disbanded. I think we're still backing our guy. As you said, Cody, he has one bad outing every now and then. You know what? Every now and then, I'm sure General had to have his infantry retreat a little bit.
This is going to sound like defending him.
Oh, boy.
But, like, this just goes to, like, the way fandom works, and I understand that.
It's been low-hanging fruit all year. I get it.
Since August 1st, so we would all agree that that's a relatively good sample size for a guy who is a reliever in a Major League bullpen. It's 12 outings. There were 12 outings. Since August 1st, up until last night, James MacArthur had appeared in 11 games. He had pitched in 14 innings. He had 18 strikeouts, and he had posted a 1.35 ERA. So I know in your brain last night, you're like, how could you do this to us? How could you pitch MacArthur in this spot? He's been horrible. He actually hadn't been. For the last 5 weeks, MacArthur had been dealing. But when things go bad for him, they go bad. Catastrophically bad. 3 Mile Island bad. Chernobyl bad. When they go bad, they go bad. I get it. We're all watching the same thing. But I'm just telling you, other times he's good. He's such an anomaly.
We've had this very conversation 6 different times this season. We've had it. It's like 6 times.
It's easy to not say anything when it's all going well.
Yeah. There's truth to both ends of it.
It's a little bit like talking about the Chiefs wide receivers in Week 15. Like, we got it.
We understand it. Totally get it. I also think since May, it's been low-hanging fruit. And it's, as you said, it's kind of how we are as fans in any sport.
Are you worried?
The minute one player, whether it's an NBA player, an NFL player, the minute one player costs you something a game, you're waiting for the next opportunity.
Well, you remember the conversation after the Raiders lost.
And it takes more than a month of, in this case, pitching really well to get people to kind of drop it. And all it takes is one more to get everybody right back off the ship. And so that's what happened.
But I was looking at how many games are left. Because I was getting ready to ask you if you're worried about their wild card spot. They once again have 3 teams chasing them that are 3 games back of the final wild card spot. But they're 4.5. They're 4 games up on the second of the final wild card spot. So they still got a 4-game lead on the teams that are actually chasing them. You at all, after one loss last night, are you ready to be like, uh-oh, here comes trouble again, because the Tigers are 3 games back of a spot.
Not for the wild card.
The Twins should be scared.
I'm not worried about the wild card.
Should the Twins be scared? They've got 3 teams: the Mariners and the Astros. That's their problem.
that's their problem.
Screw them.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about the Twins. I'm not worried about the wild card race. It's
all right.
They're going to be a wild card team at least. The question will be somehow can they get hot enough to make the division stuff interesting by the end of this week.
So update on the tickets. I had about 28 tickets to give away between social media and the text line and on the show. Alex and I have given away all 28 tickets for now. I have put in a request for more. The interest level in the tickets was incredibly high. We're not ignoring your text. We're not trying to give it to one person versus another. We just want as many people out of the K for the final 6 games. Because as a reminder, there's a good chance, these could be, we don't know, not a good chance. These could be the last home games of the season and what has been an incredibly fun year. If the Royals stay in the playoff spot that they're in right now, they will play a 3-game wildcard set on the road.
Yeah, all 3 on the road.
All 3 games will be on the road, and they will have to win that series in order to get a home playoff game. Now, that stinks. I kind of wish they would set up the schedule in a way where at least you'd get one home game for the wild card round, and maybe down the road they'll change that. But I've asked some other people. I'll try to get some more tickets. If I get more, I will tell you. If you are a person who has tickets and know you can't go, I'll pass them out for you. If you want to find people to go to the game, we just want as many people out for the final 6 games. What did JJ say at the end of there? He said that they thought they should have 150,000 people for the final
25K a night.
The final 6 games.
He said 25K a night.
25K a night. That's actually not an unreasonable. This is a team in a playoff spot, 6 final home games of the regular season. And the games are against the Tigers, a team that is actively chasing you in the playoff hunt, and the Giants, a team that
I hope last Saturday, whether you were there or you heard Bobby Witt Jr. talking about the atmosphere and what that was like for them to experience. I hope
touching his arm, pointing at goosebumps.
Yeah, I hope that if you were listening on 96.5 or if you were watching it on TV, I hope that game reminded you, if you were in Kansas City in 14 and 15, if you're someone that's lived here, went to those games, that you recalled how cool those moments were, and maybe that gets you out there. If you haven't been out there all this year, maybe that's what it takes to get somebody out there. Especially
the vibe was great.
Especially during that 6-game homestand, if they are within 2 games of the division lead still, they're 3.5 right now, but if they get within 2, entering a 6-game homestand, perhaps that's what does it. They're never going to have the attendance number that everybody would have liked, I'm sure. I'll say it, as we've said multiple times in the attendance conversation.
Normally you get the boost next year, which I don't think the Royals don't know.
John Sherman acknowledged that in a conversation he had with Vern, I don't know, a month or 2 ago. Yeah. It's the next year where you really see the spike in attendance. And everybody has their own reasons for not, we can call them excuses. It doesn't matter. There's some real reasons why people don't go. And entertainment dollar, man, can only go so far for some people. And I'm never going to tell somebody how to spend their money. I think that's where some people take it a little too far when they called out people for attendance. I'm
trying to help some people get there.
I hear you. No,
we're trying to help.
I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in general, we all can bring up attendance stuff, and should the attendance have been more on a certain night? Yeah. Do I think that? Absolutely. But to call out people for not spending their own money on something, especially now, I think that's wrong to do. I think that's kind of ridiculous at times when people do that. Coming up next here on Cody and Gold on 96.5 The Fan. We'll get to the random question of the day, plus one thing that I believe needs to change after last night's Monday Night Football game.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold. Don't sit around waiting until you have to make a decision to finally make the call to Centric. Shift to new opportunities with better advancement.
Look, we're all looking for those parts of our career where we can have that better pay, those career advancements in cybersecurity and the technology field. There's so many chances for advancement, and you can do that by going to our friends over at Centric.
It's time for you to meet with our friend Russ to shift to those new opportunities. Just go to Centric.com.
Fill out a form and tell him that Gold and I sent you, and Russ will talk you through everything.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, We help keep your focus on the moments that matter most, like dinner with loved ones, letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
I'm ready for more NFL, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is continuing its special offer to keep us watching more. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download America's #1 sportsbook. 21 and present in Kansas. Full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds, terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Fall's coming. You have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve, so this fall make a plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Using the Labor Day weekend to get some work done? We got you. Stop by any store to save on oil, fuel system cleaner, wipers, and more. Looking for an end of summer wash? We've got deals for that too. Don't want to leave the garage? Get same-day delivery on AutoZone.com. Do Labor Day your way by getting something done at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Brought to you by Indeed.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Back here, Cody and Gold coming up in 25 minutes. Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from The Athletic, going to join us in studio. We'll talk all things Chiefs, get his reaction to what he saw from Cincinnati in the first go-around, how that could impact Sunday's game, plus what is he hearing on Hollywood Brown's potential to play and the impact he could have. That's coming up in the 1 o'clock hour today. We're also about 8 minutes away from the random question of the day. You guys could always interact with us on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. And thinking of interacting with us, don't forget, we're going to be out in Las Vegas coming up in October as the Chiefs get set to take on the Raiders. We're going to be out there. It's going to be an unbelievable weekend over at Circa Las Vegas. We'll be broadcasting live from Stadium Swim Thursday and Friday. You can join us on that Friday night from one of the bars overlooking the world's largest sports book. They're going to have all sorts of drink specials. We'll have a chance to win a pair of tickets to the game. You can book your stay at circalasvegas.com. I know you've got a couple of people that reached out to you here in the last, 72 hours or so. Same with me, that just booked a hotel. We got our flights set up. We're excited. We'll have some listeners out there, some Chiefs fans. If maybe you're already making the trip long before you knew we were going out there. At least come by the party on Friday. Come on now.
So let's go to the Overhang Bar on Friday night. Give yourself a chance if you don't already have them. I don't care if you give yourself a chance for some game day tickets. You know which game we're talking about. We'll have some drink specials, and then after that party, we'll all go head to the craps table and put a table together full of Chiefs fans, right? Me, you, and a bunch of everybody who's there. Gold, what do you think? Do we circle around a craps table together? Roll the dice for a little bit?
Whatever, man. I'm down
Roll
for
the dice a little bit as a group?
I'm down for whatever.
I know you'll go to the craps table if there's a group going.
If you pay off your bet, we'll do it. Anyway.
Just don't be that guy that melted down after losing his money in craps, where he was on the table and all
that.
Man. You remember that guy. He just lost it.
Look, I'm trying to go back to Circa again next year. We love that they're having us out for that Chiefs-Raiders game and that they had us out for their cash contest just a few weeks ago. Speaking of which, you see that like a third of
the Survivor and Circa Millions.
There's Survivor and Circa Millions. So on the Survivor contest, a third of their people already got wiped off of that thing. And 7 people chose the Patriots.
Good for them.
Ballsy pick.
Those people were feeling like $1 million Sunday night, weren't they? I mean, it could not have felt better.
The one thing with the Survivor contest they do out there is if you have an entry and you get knocked out in the first 4 weeks, you can buy back in. Well, they'll let you buy back in. Now it's another $1,000, but you can buy back in.
That's why you choose the Patriots. You're like, I'll just put a G down.
Some people that are in that contest. So anyway, we're going to be out there. It's going to be a ton of fun. One thing last night, though, it wrapped up week 1 of the season. We know the 49ers beat up on the Jets pretty good, to say the least. But really the story out of that game is Jordan Mason, who was incredible, filling in for Christian McCaffrey. He looked great. And I think he obviously, whether McCaffrey comes back next week or in 3 weeks or whenever, he's probably earned a little more of an opportunity based on how well he played.
You would think so, although I did like after the game, he said he was tired. He's like, I don't know how you do this every game. I'm gassed.
I mean,
it was the most rushing attempts he'd had since high school.
Yeah, they utilize when you're a running back in Kyle Shanahan's system, you're getting touches. It doesn't matter who you are. Yeah. But the story off of this game is a little bit controversial. Nothing that Jordan Mason did wrong. But in a post-game interview with Lisa Salters, he was asked, hey, when did you find out you were going to start?
When did you find out that you were going to be starting?
When I found out, maybe Friday night, something like that. I was always prepared. I mean,
when did you
So we didn't.
You didn't fix that. One of us didn't.
We didn't fix that. He found out on Friday night that he was going to start. Immediately, I was like, wait, I think everybody had the reaction if you were still up last night watching the end of the game was, hey, that's a problem, I think, for the 49ers because Christian McCaffrey was ruled inactive 90 minutes before kickoff, which was a surprise. Yes, he was listed as questionable, and so you might say, well, if he was questionable, there was a chance of him not playing. The problem is on Saturday, he said he was going to play in week 1. Christian McCaffrey said that. Friday and Saturday, injury reports come out. He's still listed as questionable. But when you say you're going to play, and then the player,
you're going to start,
his backup says, you're starting, you kind of got caught. Now, Kyle Shanahan in postgame, of course, defended it, downplayed. The league's already said they're going to investigate, and the punishment usually is like a fine or something like that.
Be cash.
He said, quote, I never told Jordan he was going to start. I told him he had to be ready a bunch, but it might have been Bobby Turner, who's their running back coach, or somebody trying to pump him up. He knew he was going to have to play a lot. It wasn't going to be like usual. So then Jordan Mason goes up to the podium after those comments from Kyle Shanahan and after he already said on the interview post-game that, he learned on Friday.
When did you find out that you'd be in the starting lineup?
That question right there is why I'm mad. That's why I don't like really talking to media, because you say one thing wrong, and then, I don't know. Just skip that question.
Yeah, so look, Jordan Mason did nothing wrong. He shouldn't be
He's
mad.
just upset.
He shouldn't be mad at the media.
No.
He said it. He gave an honest answer in post-game. The 49ers are now in a tough spot because of it. I'm sure they're
probably going to get fined as a result.
They probably weren't thrilled with it. And yes, Christian McCaffrey was questionable. The issue here is now more than ever, the NFL gets money from sports betting companies. More than ever, people are betting on games. Typically, if you're old school and you're a football coach, you're like, I don't give a damn. I don't need to tell you anything. The league requires teams to be accurate with their injury reporting. This is not just a 49ers thing. Last year, there were some teams that got in trouble. Credit the Chiefs on this. You are supposed to notify the league and put out an updated injury report if somebody wakes up and doesn't feel great, basically. Like Patrick Mahomes last year when he all of a sudden had the flu or whatever it was, that Saturday morning, I think it was, they updated the injury report and said he's got an illness. Like, it sounds so small, and why does it matter? It does more than ever now. One, competitive advantage possibilities, but also,
if anything, they did the other thing. They said Tony was hurt when he wasn't because he wasn't going to play.
Sports betting, like you may not be into sports betting. That's totally fine. You know where I stand on it.
Yeah.
I didn't have any money on Christian McCaffrey's. That's not why I'm bringing this up. The point is that that's why it's an issue in the league now, and it's why the NFL is investigating it, and maybe they get fined. It's why Kyle Shanahan was defending it.
When you're talking about partnerships for hundreds of millions of dollars, of course they're going to protect it. But I still think the competitive advantage part should matter. They have rules in place like this for a reason. If you break the rules, a la contact Jeremy Maclin via text message, you're punished. If you get caught, you got caught because of what he said. That's the problem. I understand he'd be like, I don't know. But he gave an honest answer. And honestly, somebody told him he was starting on Friday. That's painfully obvious. Maybe it was the running back coach.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't Kyle Shanahan. But I'll tell you right now, if it was Kyle Shanahan, he's sure as hell not going to admit it in postgame now. He's going to lie so that his owner doesn't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars.
What should the penalty, like, is there any
money?
way,
I don't care. Look, they don't need to have a third-round pick taken away. Just fine him.
Yeah, but is there anything that's going to make them stop doing it? What amount of money is it going to take for this
Public
to not
embarrassment
become...
and money.
Yeah, they've already been embarrassed, though.
Yeah, so that part's good.
Were they really embarrassed?
About this? No, because they
were
won the
embarrassed.
game.
If anything, you put Jordan Mason in a bad spot.
Yeah,
he gave an honest answer. He might have been told that he shouldn't have said that in private, and then he knew it was causing an issue, and he got emotional about it. He played great. He did nothing wrong. He absolutely did nothing wrong. Overall, the scenario of like, hey, well, they weren't wrong in their reporting. The issue again is that if a player was told and therefore they knew that somebody else was starting at running back, let's just can we stop lying to ourselves? Like, well, Christian McCaffrey, maybe they were going to only play him a little bit. If Christian McCaffrey was going to play, the other guy would not have started. Maybe you thought that they were going to split snaps. Okay, that's fine. Or 25% of McCaffrey. There was no scenario where McCaffrey was going to be active and yet be the number 2 running back. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
if Mason was told on Friday he was starting, it means
they
knew McCaffrey.
Carries, but McCaffrey would have been snapped.
They knew McCaffrey was not going to be active at that point.
Right. The other thing in the game, what'd you think of you? Last year, you had bought into the Aaron Rodgers stuff. You've obviously tempered that.
I'm a huge fan of his. Yes.
You had bought into that
huge
working.
fan. Man. Yeah.
His passing chart, we mentioned that earlier. Did you see, Drew? He didn't throw. I showed it to Alex earlier.
Yeah.
He did not throw a single pass to the right side of the field.
Well, they don't have anybody. He threw.
What do you mean they don't have anybody? Mike Williams played 51 snaps.
Whoa, calm down.
I thought I was told that they were full of weapons.
It sounds like
I don't have anybody.
Hold on, it sounds like you had money on him, or he's on
No.
your fantasy.
I was just told.
Drew, he just jumped down your throat on that one.
So
My
they don't have
goodness.
anybody. I just felt like that's the opposite of what I've been told about the Jets for the last 2 years.
He threw the ball.
Look at all the
to
weapons.
Garrett Wilson. He threw the ball. He literally threw the ball to Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, and Brees Hall, and that was it.
That was it.
That was.
It was weird.
I was completely underwhelmed by Aaron Rodgers' performance. I think I would put more stock into it being like it meant something, like he's going to be bad all year. If, again, 2/3 of the league didn't look like Aaron Rodgers this weekend. The average depth of target week 1 in the NFL was 5.4 yards. He looked just as stinky as Burrow or everyone else. Like, they just lump them all into one big group of mediocre to below average.
There were maybe
play.
5 quarterbacks.
So I wasn't
that
blown
had-
away. Yeah.
I don't think
Tua,
Jets fans should be
Baker,
like
Mahomes.
Jets fans should not be panicking about Aaron Rodgers or anything this morning. That would be I think that would be silly. I mean, he was okay, and as you said, there was a lot of okay QB performances throughout week 1. Their schedule lightens up. Let's see what they look like. If you were expecting the Jets to just hit the ground running against the NFC champion 49ers and be at one of now they're back to being a contender in the AFC and all this kind of stuff. Well, yeah, that performance didn't happen, to say the least. Also, Hassan Reddick is just sitting on his ass, willing to eat $6 million in fines and everything. And the Jets, you would say, oh, this is the Chris Jones situation. Are they getting more? Or is the player getting leverage because their defense looks so bad? I don't think the Jets care. The difference with Chris Jones was he had been with the team. He was drafted by the team. He'd been a part of their Super Bowl runs before. Hassan Reddick has barely been involved with that organization. So they're not gonna cave, I don't believe, just because of that. At some point he's gonna play for them, but I don't
Probably
know
because it's costing him millions of dollars every time he sits.
$6 million. Imagine how nice that is to just be like, no big deal, I'm good. Don't need the $6
I don't
mil.
need the $6 million. God, I wish that they would just like divvy it up to Jets fans. You know, like if you're just a suffering Jets fan, you should get a piece of Reddick's cash.
Yeah, but by the time they divide that out,
That
by the
would
time
be
they
great.
divide
That'd
that
be
out,
great.
you're
Who cares? $500, man. It'd
not
feel
even
good.
$500. By the time they divide it out of Jets season ticket holders,
It's
plus
like a
Jets
lottery.
fan
They just
club.
draw your name out of a hat. You know, you make less than like
Jets
if you've been a Jets
lottery.
fan your whole life and you make less than $50,000 a year, congratulations, you're entered to win part of Hassan Reddick's $6 million.
So now the Jets,
That's
so now they
doing
want
too
people to
much.
submit their. Now they want
At
people
that
to
point.
submit their income
Yeah, at that
to
point,
the Jets
I need to give
organization.
you my social
That's
security
correct.
number so you can verify how much money I'm. It's not worth it.
That's exactly what I'm suggesting. Yes.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over on the text line, 913-586-7965, or on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, where we live stream all 4 hours of this show every single day. I want to know, the question I have for you today is, what would it take for you to go to this event? So know that this is the question before I give you the details. What would it take for you to go to this event? Yesterday, 32-year-old Billy McFarland announced Fyre Fest 2 is coming.
Oh, my goodness.
April 25th, 2025. He has announced that they have got a private island off the coast of Mexico in the Caribbean.
I bet they do.
Slated to do it with tickets for the 3-day event ranging from $1,400 to a staggering $1.1 million, which would include a yacht option with him and scuba diving and island hopping with McFarland himself. The entrepreneur, he was in $30 million in debt after the previous event, but says this is going to be different. I will say one real quick detail before I find out if you're willing to go to this, even for free. He did say that they have yet to book a single musical artist yet. So they don't.
What?
But he says, hold on. He says the festival is not just about music. It's about atmosphere and experience and things.
Okay, so we're out. We're out. One, because the same guy. It's like what? By the way, once a con man, always a con man.
Yeah, if you get suckered into this the second time, you just hate your money.
Yeah, once you're a con man, you're always a con man. I don't care, whatever. He served 4 years in prison for fraud. I don't think magically that he's just not going to
How are
ever.
you allowed to even do this again?
If
you served 4 years in prison for fraud.
I will say this.
In a weird way, for his slight defense on this one, if you are someone that spends thousands of dollars on a festival that you know the last time was a disaster and the guy went to prison for fraud, you almost don't deserve a refund this time around. Like this time around, you know what? You don't need to give you a refund and it's a bunch. You're an idiot for signing up for it. That's what I'm thinking about on this one. But there's no chance, free or not, I'm going to this thing. You just told me he doesn't have a musical act lined up. Oh, and he's already covering his ass by saying, well, it's also just an experience. So that way, if he doesn't have good musical acts, he can claim it's just a bunch of rich people that decided to waste money. And their parents wrote him a check so these 22-year-olds can go and go to a private island and live in a tent where
They have no food and they're eating ham and cheese sandwiches. It's going to be the same prison menu that he had when he was in prison for fraud for 4 years. So, no, I'm not going to.
I'm a little surprised that you can go to jail for fraud and then you're still allowed to try to host the exact same event you went to jail for fraud for. Like, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying he served his time. He shouldn't be allowed to, like, earn money, make a living, whatever.
Sure.
I just don't think he should also be able to do Firefest 2, the thing that put me in jail for 4 years. It feels like capitalizing, or at the very least, if Firefest 2 happens and it goes off without a hitch, and there are actual musical artists and people have a good time
this thing versus the previous time where everyone clearly had a miserable time and there was no bathrooms and no food and no places to sleep and no musical artists.
And all this other stuff.
And we had that one guy that said he was willing to do whatever it takes.
Somebody said that maybe he'll. Someone said maybe he'll just play the one guy's AI playlist there. That's an experience for you.
Yeah, they'll get the same guy that committed fraud with the fake songs and bands for $10 million. That guy will just provide the music. That's a good point.
The idea of going to an island though for this when you don't if it's. I think you're more likely, if that event were to be in like Dallas, Texas or whatever, you're more likely to get people to, you know what, fine. I can at least, if I need to escape for whatever reason, I have somewhere to go.
This whole thing was the island theme and everything. That's what he...
I don't think there's no way that you can ask people for money before you have a set list. That to me is the most egregious part of it. And then also...
You can't announce an event until you know who's playing?
Lollapalooza cannot announce... I mean, it's got to. Well, I know it's got the track record, but you can't just show up and say, "Hey, come to Lollapalooza," and then you have duds everywhere on stage, and you're essentially doing a similar thing.
I will be. I'll tell you, no matter what happens with this Firefest 2, if it actually happens,
April 25th, I'll be way less sympathetic to the people that go this time because what the hell did you expect?
Also, the incentive, you said
Ludacris was trying to convince you to go, man. It seemed cool.
You said $1.1 million, and you get to hang out on a yacht with Billy Sorry, you're not the reason I would be spending $1.1 million to hang out with you. If I'm spending $1.1 million on a ticket, it's got to be VIP with all of the musical artists on the yacht, and you're not on the yacht, Billy. I'm sorry, you're not.
I agree with the top texters. It'll probably still sell out again. Oh, I don't doubt that. I think it will sell out again. I'm just saying that, man, if it turns out to be a disaster, you have nobody to blame but yourself for willing to give a guy that committed fraud for the same event 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's hard for me to be like, oh, no. It's the guy. I ripped you off. I don't know what you're expecting. Or how you're expecting it to go differently than that. That's all. I just wanted you to know.
Hey, you guys didn't
get any calls or anything on me yesterday, right? Because I was a little worried. There were a couple of
calls on you.
I'm going to tell you something so that you don't get misinformation and think something went down that didn't. Yesterday at UMKC, I got campus security called on me. And before you start thinking I've done anything wrong, I want to be clear that I didn't. The future of my school board could be on the line or my teaching career at UMKC. Last week, they gave me a key to my room that I teach in. I arrived a little bit early because I wanted to get my computer set up so I could show people on the board, some of the stuff in the editing software. Just wanted to give them a heads up. Got there early, unlocked the door, and there's an alarm going off. There's a keypad on the wall. I don't have the
Did you try 965?
I did not.
That didn't work.
I don't have a number to that keypad. So what I did was leave. I just thought, well, this will go off, and eventually someone will come back around. When I had returned, campus security was there, and then asking the question to be like, who just let this alarm go off? Why is this thing going off? And then I had to convince them that I actually was employed by the university, and I should have a code to this thing so that I could actually turn it off. I just thought the scene, if someone had taken a photo of me standing by a member of campus security as a code was going off, you guys would never let me hear the end of it unless I confess now.
We did not get a call, but I'm trying to figure out.
There was no picture, unfortunately.
You opened a door, you set off an alarm, and then you ran away. Did I hear that right?
Yes, that's
Cody?
what he said. That's what he
You
said.
set an alarm off, and then you ran away.
Correct.
You didn't try to.
I didn't have the code. What am I supposed to do? Just press? No, I left the seat. I'll get the hell out of there. Are you kidding? I got the hell out of there.
And then when you went back, you said that you had to convince them. Did you say, "Oh, sorry, that was me that set the alarm off"? Did you admit to that right when you went back?
Yeah.
And they said, "Who are you?"
Yeah. And I just said, "Look, I work here. I've got a key." But I don't have a code for this. And didn't they give you there are some questions. Didn't they give you a code? Shouldn't you have it? Like, I really technically shouldn't have access.
Where did you go after the alarm?
To this room. I went up to, so I know there's one person's office upstairs who probably has the code. So I went up to her office to see if maybe I could get the code. She was not there. I had a lovely conversation with Steve Krasse over at KCUR for about 5 minutes while that alarm went off.
Meanwhile, anybody could have gone in the same door that you already had unlocked, correct?
Maybe I locked it. I don't remember. Maybe I relocked it. I might have relocked it.
So you open the door, alarm goes off, then you lock the same door and let the alarm continue to go off.
Pretty much. Yes. I don't know if I locked it or not. I think I did.
Cody is the meme of the dog with the fire in the background. I had a lovely conversation with this guy. Wow, everybody was freaking out in the room.
Text line says, criminals always return at the scene of the crime. Eventually, they can't help themselves. Yeah,
I mean, technically, you did have to teach the class there, so I guess it makes sense why you returned. But
I was gonna have to go back eventually. I could just cancel class because I set an alarm.
A lot of people don't believe you. They're saying this is smart. You're getting ahead of this story. This is smart. Getting out ahead of this.
You think
this way? If they come back to
you, my version of the story.
Like, no, I was on my own radio show. This is what happened, and then we're gonna find out a week from now something went missing in that same room, and this is your attempt at an alibi.
Nothing went missing that I could tell. Everything appeared to still be in order.
I relocked the door.
I'm pretty sure I did. You know?
What's in there? Equipment? Computers?
Yeah, like Mac.
Expensive computers.
Essentially expensive computers and headphones.
So Drew could have walked up and just grabbed whatever he wanted because you already set the alarm off and he could blame it on you.
I mean, hypothetically, yes. Hypothetically, I don't think that did happen.
So far, how's class going?
Pretty good. Mostly everyone's showing up every time.
Oh.
We've started to do some practical application stuff. I'm not holding. You know what? I decided you guys convinced me that as much as I like people to be on time and be present, that it's college and they pay for it. And,
if they want to put as much effort, it's up to them to put effort in.
For the people who have real legitimate excuses, like as in they've got other things going on in their lives, I will go out of my way to make sure that they feel like they are caught up on the material. For the people who just don't show, I'm not going to go out of my way. You can hit me up if you want to find something out. But I'm not going to hold you hostage in this class if you got other things going on in your life.
Well, I have good news. Thursday, we're bringing back Snitch Line. And so if anybody was around the UMKC campus yesterday, heard an alarm go off, saw somebody running away from an alarm, we need more
more
Snitch
specifics.
Line, completely anonymous. Thursday, the Snitch Line returns for the first time in months here on Cody and Gold. Up next, we get back to the Chiefs. Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from The Athletic, tells us his thoughts on the likelihood of Hollywood Brown playing Sunday.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Been a little dry in Kansas City lately, but it was storming this summer. We had a lot of big ones come through Kansas City. Hail, wind, and then now the winter's going to get ready to come around the corner and take advantage of your roof. Don't let somebody come knock on your door and be like, well, I'll take care of it. Trust a company that's been working in the Kansas City area for as long as you can remember. CenturyRoofingKC.com wants to take care of your roofs and has been voted best roofing company in Johnson County for 3 straight years. 34 years of company experience in Kansas City. With a warranty, you know that they'll be able to stand behind and honor because they're going to keep working in Kansas City. That's what matters here. 3 years in a row by your neighbors telling you that they're the best roofing company in the city? That's not by accident. It's because they've installed over 30,000 roofs in the greater Kansas City area since 1990. Doesn't matter if you need asphalt or concrete tile or standing seam metal roofing. They'll handle all the different standard shingle, everything inside of that. Doesn't matter the roof replacement job. We're talking about 30,000 roofs. I can promise you they can handle your project. They offer free roof replacement estimates and repair estimates. I told you they're doing a repair on my roof as well, so you can take care of those things ahead of a busy winter. Schedule your estimate today from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to centuryroofingkc.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at bluekc.com.
Fortunately, since 1996, Mark Ferguson has helped thousands of Kansas Cityans during their time of need. Whether you're facing a traffic violation or a more serious crime, Mark and his team of seasoned, compassionate professionals are here to fight for you in all of your legal matters. Mark has built his career on integrity, knowledge, and an incredible reputation. Call Mark Ferguson at 816-203-2263. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
Men, low testosterone causes a host of problems. These include a low sex drive, bad sleep patterns, unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog, and more. But many men just attribute these symptoms to aging and don't consider that there are medical treatments that can give them back their vigor and vibrancy. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're feeling like I just described, it's time for you to treat that low T and change your life. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low testosterone and other men's sexual health conditions. We've successfully treated many men for low T and seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in a man's life. If you're like the vast majority of men who are low T, within just a few weeks, you'll feel your energy return, that brain fog will go away, your sleep will improve, as will your workouts, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. So make an appointment and make a true life change. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and now North Kansas City.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
Celebrate your home team's Tully touchdown with Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. May your team be swift and their aim true. May the refs be forever in your favor and your whiskey always Tullamore Dew. Tullamore Dew, the original triple blended, triple distilled, smooth sipping Irish whiskey, made exactly for game day moments like this. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by William Grant & Sons Incorporated, New York, New York. Please enjoy Tullamore Dew responsibly.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, Visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world. Turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their valuable tools, but to protect their professional reputations. For pros, the WeatherGuard badge makes a statement about what drives them. It says, "Bring it on. Been there. Done that. We've got your back," without saying a word. And the folks at WeatherGuard, they're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. See what it means to be driven at weatherguard.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, 1 o'clock hour here on a Tuesday. It's Cody and Gold on 96.5. The Fan. Reminder, Royals in action tonight, 6:05. First pitch. Vern's on deck show at 5 o'clock as the Royals take on the Yankees right here on your home for the Royals. 96.5 The Fan, and excited to have Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from The Athletic, joining us in studio. I was told Cody, we didn't mention it live last week. You were out at Rally House with us, right? We're having a good time. We'll get his mic working. I think Drew will get one of those going.
One of them.
And,
there we go.
We were having a good time out there, and I'm sure you noticed it. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you get this a lot. I have no idea. But there was a lady, very nice lady, that came by during a break.
Uh-huh.
And she goes to you.
Uh-huh.
And she says,
"Oh, yes, this did
She said,
happen.
"You play for the Chiefs?"
Oh, she's so nice. So sweet.
Did you play for the Chiefs? And you were very nice. And then she
should have said, "I'm Justin Reed."
She's like, "But you played college football, right?"
Get out of here.
She's like, "Justin Reed." He's like, "You played."
you mean Division NIA?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Division
We didn't
3.
bring it up on the fly there.
Oh, my
but
God.
I remembered it again today, and like, I got to ask Nate about that.
No, that was so good. Yeah, look, man, it's just nice to get recognized every now and then that you could look semi-athletic. Man, have you seen NFL players in the flesh? Because no, I don't.
She saw you in the hot dog derby, you know?
Yeah,
Well, that's true.
She saw your performance. Nate, did you hear I'm racing again?
You are?
He's going to go 0 for 0 4.
I have been
This year?
I have been invited.
What?
Not this year.
Oh,
The
okay.
previous ones were in other years. I'll be
I was
0-2
like,
this year.
whoa.
The Royals have invited me to participate, despite my 0-3 record, in the Hot Dog Championship.
He should be upset.
They got
He should be upset.
No,
They
I'm
got a
fine.
3 heat race, 3 ketchups, 3 mustards, 3 relishes. They all race against each other. Then the final race, one of each for
Yes.
the championship belt.
Oh, it's like the Olympic prelims.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the problem for Cody is, one, he didn't beat me, he didn't beat you, and now
And
he's
I
going
am to
up against...
understand that one of the people in my heat is former professional soccer player Matt Biesler.
He's screwed.
Is that bad for me?
It might. You might need to make some deals off the table, as they say.
I've played wiffle ball with Matt. He's a super competitive dude.
Yeah, it's not happening. So yeah, I mean, the best part of this is, we have an amazing job, which is kind of like another reminder of just like how hilarious and silly this all is, which I try to tell myself as much as, we want to obviously inform people and have a good time and, be serious when necessary. But yeah, the amount of people in my life who still talk to me about this hot dog derby, more than a month after this thing has occurred is quite tickling and puzzling at the same time.
Nate Taylor is joining us in studio.
I could be a champion.
He's,
if I hurt Matt Biesler, if I just injure a Kansas City icon, it could be mine.
Nancy Kerrigan.
Take one of Bobby's bats from the dugout on my way out.
Our conversations with Nate are presented by Mark Ferguson. We all make mistakes, right, Cody? Let Mark and his legal team make the best of them. 816-221-1750. All right, let's talk about this week for the Chiefs because, honestly, the only real question, heading into game day is Hollywood Brown playing?
Yes, would be my guess. As of
Really?
right now. Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear that. Okay.
Yeah. Now he wants to make it clear that he can be available. He can. He's going to go through a number of tests this week. The anticipation, I should say, the expectation is that he will try to give it a go tomorrow at practice.
All right.
And then you see where it goes. Now the caveat to all this, of course, is if he is available, if he is in uniform, don't expect 50 snaps, guys.
20, 25? What are we thinking?
Like something where you can easily
get loose.
Yeah, something where you can easily get him into the flow early in the game through the 15-play script or whatever. You might have some packages, some looks that you might want to just even present the Atlanta Falcons, your opponent, the following week, right? So I'm not expecting what your normal production would be for Hollywood. But yeah, I mean, he's excited based on what he saw last Thursday. Andy Reid told us yesterday that, he's pretty much recovered as well as you could hope for this time. It's just going to come down to how comfortable does he feel physically, and then how comfortable does Andy Reid feel like using him. Again, 15 to 20 snaps, see if you can get something out of him, just get him into the flow, the rhythm, see what it's like on game day from a procedural standpoint, and then obviously sort of build on that the following week against the Atlanta Falcons.
What is the difference in peak, in your opinion? So last week, offense was not good in the NFL. The Chiefs had the highest average yards per play.
Right.
They were the second best offense from a total yardage perspective. They were in the top 5 in points.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They were one of the better offenses in the league. When Hollywood is back and healthy and all the way back, is the peak still what you thought it might have been going into the year, the best offense in the league?
I don't know if it'll be the best offense in the league, but the entire plan this offseason was for them to get back to being top 10, top 5 in offense.
That top 10, that should be every year with Mahomes.
Correct. And so now I do think they are a legitimate threat to be a top 5 offense, if everyone stays relatively healthy and the production only gets better because, one thing that I think is hard for us all to realize in the moment, because we're just so excited for the first game of the season, is Xavier Worthy had never played an NFL game before. You can say the same about Kingsley Suamataia. Samaje Perine had 2 practices, 2 legit practices to get ready for that
half
game.
of an inch from getting a touchdown too.
Right.
I thought he had that one.
Yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster had a week and a half coming back, and he hadn't really done anything in the preseason with the New England Patriots. So that was his first legitimate game experience. You can obviously add Carson Steele to it. No Hollywood Brown. I think the real indication of where they are probably will be somewhere in the middle of October, once you get to around game 5, 6. I know they have the bye week as well. But Xavier Worthy being a legitimate threat, a legitimate contributor, a legitimate difference maker in the first game now makes everything kind of seem possible as long as Kingsley Suamataia continues to progress from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. You don't want him to get worse, obviously, but you do want to see sizable progress each month moving forward.
Did you see Pro Football Focus had him rated as the worst player on offense for the Chiefs? In watching that game, is that what you saw? I think part of it is because they said he stunk in run blocking. I'm curious what you think about that. I thought he had what you would call most rookie things, where there are definitely some snaps he wish he got back.
Yes.
But he only allowed 1 pressure, and I didn't think he got his ass kicked on the field either.
Right. There's only one clear, you almost lost too fast, which was the 3rd down sack. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to understand, and I try to remind people of this too, just because, Pro Football Focus says this, it's only one evaluator. They have multiple people who evaluate these things. There is some,
No, I know. It's one guy.
cross-referencing, but it's mostly started with here's one person's viewpoint, and then it sort of builds off of that. I get the sense that Kingsley was about as good as you could have asked for having never played an NFL game before against a defense that is known for its simulated pressures, known for its, capable edge rushers, but again, no Myles Garrett, no, Micah Parsons.
No TJ Watt. I watched him in week 1.
Yikes. Took over a football game. Just took over a football game.
And now you know why Kirk Cousins coming off of Achilles is like, I got to get the ball out.
He had happy feet.
Quick. I would too. I don't know who their tackles are for the Atlanta Falcons. They did not look good.
I don't know that anybody would. It was kind of like I don't remember who the guards are for the Ravens, but no one was going to look good against Chris Jones in that game.
No.
Yeah, TJ Watt won the Steelers that game. It was an insane performance.
Yeah, it reminds you like how healthy these guys are in week 1, and it's just like the amount of, carnage and attrition throughout the course of the season. But for Kingsley specifically, it's like, hey man, could you be better in run blocking? Sure. Did they really try to run block towards his side? Not a ton. They actually were pretty better between the tackles, i.e. using your guards and Creed Humphrey, of course. He did look great on the reverse end around play. He gets all the way down the field. Yep. He sort of washes out. Who was it? Was it Roquan Smith, if my memory's correct? Who then also got cheap shotted by Travis Kelce.
Yeah, he did.
Excellent. Just excellent all the way around.
He's a big trash talker, so I don't feel bad at all.
No.
And honestly, you'd mentioned Creed Humphrey. He had a great game, too.
He did.
He absolutely ran, because that's the whole thing. People spent a whole offseason trying to convince me that maybe they weren't going to pay him because of the snap issue. I'm like,
no.
Do you watch any other part of that man's game?
No.
That
deal was done in June, guys.
Yeah.
That deal was... Now, there's some particulars you got to get through, and you got to get through camp, and, there's some stuff. But
dot some I's, cross some T's.
But. Yeah, but that deal was basically done by June. He only had one penalty, too. I think we have to remind ourselves, too, that, hey, at least he wasn't lined up improperly.
True.
He did all the small things correctly. He only had one false start, I believe. He did give up the sack. Even though Pro Football Focus says he didn't give up a sack a lot, I'm like,
it's weird. They said he didn't give up a sack.
He did.
He didn't give up a sack in their system, but yet their system graded him as the worst offensive player for the Chiefs. So
he got beat on that play, but apparently not for the sack.
What?
I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, it's a loss, buddy. That's a clear loss. It's okay.
Yeah.
I know Chris Collinsworth put a little package there in the middle of the game, and it was like, okay, from a technique standpoint, he's not holding. He is getting in the way. Now we just need that athleticism and his ability to quickly learn and develop, sort of shine through. But it was clear to me that for what they were asking of him, it was a very passable grade, even though, I'm looking here. He only got, a 48.9 overall grade, a 37.3 in the run blocking. So I guess I could rewatch the game today and try to get an idea of, where that grade comes down to.
I watched Mitchell Schwartz's breakdown of it, and he said what we said, which is he won some, he lost some. He mostly held up okay for a rookie offensive lineman in his first start at tackle.
Yes. So, and again, you're not – it sounds weird. I mean, you would love Kingsley to be great at everything, right? But you're really acquiring him and playing him because he gives you above-average athleticism in pass blocking, one-on-one, gotta-have-it downs. So he could be better as a run blocker, I'm sure, based on this evaluation, which, again, is just, one person, one group's thought process in all of this. But at the same time, we saw it in camp. He's a better pass protector than Wanye Morris, and he can only get better from here.
We're talking to Nate Taylor from The Athletic, our Chiefs insider. He joins us every Tuesday on 96.5 The Fan. Going back to the defense, though, for a little bit. We were talking about Nick Bolton earlier on in the show and what we saw from him and how much of his performance was, hey, we already knew that coverage skills, not his strength. They're also going up against a super athletic tight end in Isaiah Likely. And, you'll see Kyle Pitts in a couple weeks, but there's very few tight ends that are capable of doing what Likely did. Like everybody was like, Nick Bolton played terribly. Oh, it wasn't great, but I don't I disagree if we're like, oh, he looks worse than he ever has. He was still effective in rundowns to me. And I think it was a terrible matchup, which the Ravens exposed. We know he's not a good coverage linebacker. Where were you at on Nick Bolton, his performance now and then also just long-term for the season?
Right. So interestingly enough, Pro Football Focus had Nick Bolton as a 58 overall grade.
Not a good grade.
Not great.
Makes sense.
He was It wasn't great, guys. It just wasn't. Especially because I'm going to remind the audience of two factors, right? He didn't play in the preseason. Not a single snap for mostly health precautionary reasons because he had a elbow injury, which he's still wearing the elbow brace. So he, in some ways, is healthy, but he ain't healthy. And he wasn't conditioned for that game because he hadn't played a football game since the Super Bowl. So one of the slight criticisms, minor, I have for Steve Spagnuolo is why is he on the field all 80 snaps when he hasn't played a single snap in the preseason and he's nursing appears to be an elbow injury because he still has the elbow brace on. So you have Drew Tranquil, you have Leo Chenal, who by the way played
great,
amazing in his role.
Jack Cochran can get 10 snaps, whatever.
You have Jack Cochran, again, serviceable backup. Why is Nick Bolton on the field 80 snaps? Because if you leave him out there, eventually Todd Monken, whoever, Zach Taylor on Sunday is going to find out, hey, should probably put Nick Bolton in coverage. It took him about 3 quarters, but they eventually got to it, and that was the main weakness for the defense. So it's not like Chris Jones wasn't getting pressure. It's not like George Karlaftis was helping contain Lamar Jackson in the pocket as much as you can from a defensive end. Obviously, the secondary played pretty well, including Jalen Watson. So it's a bit of a criticism for Spagnuolo overall because the defense played well. But Nick Bolton is not prepared to play at his best because of these two factors that I've mentioned before. He hadn't played in the preseason, and he's still trying to play through a elbow injury that I don't think is fully healthy.
One guy, so we mentioned obviously one of the biggest talking points coming out of the game last Thursday was Xavier Worthy for the obvious reasons.
Yep.
He scored 2 touchdowns. He's really fast, and everyone can
hold on. Who is this that jumped off the screen? According to Pro Football Focus, again, one set of eyes. But this is more analytic based, which is also part, I believe, I can double check this through next year's stats as well. When the ball was passed towards his direction, and this is including Isaiah Likely's toe being out of bounds, which I think is the only factor as to why this stat is the way it's stat. The quarterback passing rating for Lamar Jackson was 149.3.
Thought you were going to say 158.3, which is a perfect.
It would have been had Isaiah Likely's left foot been in bounds.
Which Nick Bolton is the reason it wasn't. Nick Bolton made the contact in the back of the end zone. Look, he got beat on the coverage, but I'll give him credit for at least shoving the man.
He had hey man, that's almost unplayable for 80 snaps.
I'll ask you about Worthy in a minute because this is just a difference between like Andy handles the offense and he's always let somebody else handle the defense.
Yeah.
So asking them to do the same thing they do on the offensive side doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't Steve Spagnuolo treat it the same way the Chiefs have treated third down running backs their entire time?
Sure.
If we don't trust you in pass protection, you aren't on the field in third down.
Correct.
If it is 3rd and 10, what's Nick Bolton's job here except to get beat by somebody going out for a route? I'm not saying every third down, but are there times when it would be justified to put in a more pass situation linebacker in those to protect Bolton a little bit?
Yes, you have Drew Tranquil, who, by the way, is healthier than him right now.
That's all.
That at least as of Thursday night, right?
But Nick, in fairness, though, I think you always say this to us too. Nick Bolton, he's been a full participant in practice, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we've always said this, like, if you're a full participant in practice and you're not
by
on the
NFL
injury report,
standards, you're not hurt.
I'm grading you as that you're healthy. Like I'm viewing your performance as you're healthy. Like if not, then if he's not healthy, I'm not saying you're wrong that he's not healthy. I totally buy into what you're saying. I'm just saying like if you're not on the injury report and fans don't see on the injury report, they're viewing you as being healthy, right?
Fine, totally fair. But from a conditioning standpoint, hey man, it's an extended play. You're covering Isaiah Likely. It's unfortunate. Hey, you kind of turned your back because you're in man coverage or in a sort of zone match coverage. Hey man, quarterback throw it behind your ear. It happens. You're not conditioned enough to tackle this man. You just gonna let him run right by you? You just gonna let him score? Hey man, we have 35 more yards to defend. You let him run right by you because you're not conditioned. And if you watch the replay, which I've watched several times, he's gassed. He's cooked. He gets to he's chasing Isaiah Likely and then he slows up because I just don't think
Just spent. The whole defense was spent by that time of the game, too.
Right. And so but unlike his teammates, he just has no football conditioning whatsoever because he hadn't played in the preseason. That is, I think, a credit to Justin Reed because he was in a similar situation coming off the quad injury. He did play every snap. He did play pretty well. He didn't have the same, game condition issues, at least that I could visibly see the way we saw from Nick Bolton. But, yeah, you have Drew Tranquill. He is healthy. Hey, mix and match. Make it to where the play caller and the quarterback don't know, hey, if it's 3rd and 8 and they're in dime.
Maybe the one linebacker's Tranquill.
Hey, or hey, 2 series later, maybe it's Nick Bolton based on personnel, matchups, whatever. But, as of right now, they've used Nick Bolton as the dime linebacker when they don't necessarily have to if he continues to struggle. And, of course, the two, I guess, most logical candidates to replace him for those specific type of snaps are Drew Tranquill or Jaden Hicks, the rookie safety who didn't play on defense Thursday night. But obviously, you're going to bring him along as the season goes along.
I was going to ask you about Xavier Worthy. He played 68% of the snaps in that game. Rashee Rice did not reach that number till week 9 last year. So Hollywood Brown could be out. So am I just to assume, based on the way that they've treated every rookie wide receiver ever, that they like Xavier Worthy more now than they liked Rashee Rice week 1 last year?
Yes. Partly out of necessity because
he has a different skill set.
Yes. And partly because I have to remember, even for myself, let alone the audience, man, they weren't expecting anything from Rashee Rice last year.
No, they had relatively low expectations. They thought they were going to carry it.
They had starting number 1 wide receiver Kadarius Toney.
They were wrong on that. He looks like a number 1 all of a sudden.
Yes, they had Marquise Valdez-Scantling. They had Sky Moore entering year 2. They had Justin Watson. But of course Travis Kelce gets hurt. Kadarius Toney has his terrible performance in the opener, and then they eventually realized, hey. Obviously, we invested a 2nd-round pick in him. We thought we would do this the more traditional route, which is Andy Reid always takes it pretty slow with rookie receivers. And then they were like, hey, man, can you learn the playbook as fast as humanly possible?
That's why it was until week 9 before he played. And after that, he pretty much played that or more the rest of the way.
Correct. And so it took him a while to get game speed ready, to get the trust from Patrick Mahomes, obviously to get the full playbook down as much as you could from a rookie receiver. Who was asked to do more than he was even asked to do in college. I think, that's something, too, that most people don't realize is he was a pretty dominant number 1 receiver in college who was just like, I go ball, I go get ball. I do jump balls. I run deep routes. And they're like, forget all that. Can you work in the middle of the field? Can you please do that? Could you give Travis Kelce some bit of relief in 3rd down situations? So for Worthy to always be this good. I mean, let's be honest. Worthy's the better prospect.
He's the higher draft pick.
Yes.
He's the better athlete.
Yes.
But Rashee Rice, I think I said 1,200 yards before the season. I was like, that looked more than accurate in week 1.
Right, especially with, again, no issues with the suspension involving the car accident back in Easter weekend. People
that man did that on Easter weekend?
He really did. He did it on the Saturday before Easter. Just awful timing. Now look, Rashee Rice was also coming off of a foot injury that he played with throughout most of his last year at SMU, and so it took him some time to get fully recovered from that. Xavier Worthy had no issues from a health standpoint. He ran a 4.21, guys.
He had a slight, what was it, hamstring?
Yeah, the hamstring for OTAs and for a month or so in the offseason. It turned out to be nothing.
He ran a 4.21 for
Yeah.
combine.
That's pretty fast.
It's pretty. So he's the faster. He's the more dynamic receiver. He's also, in some ways, you could argue even the more durable receiver because he never missed a game in college. Yeah. And even for his slender frame, man, that dude plays hard, plays tough. And can clearly go get it. So, I think for a number of reasons, Xavier Worthy is the perfect prospect to be put in this specific offense at this specific time, where I can't say that a year ago about Rashee Rice.
We got Nate Taylor from The Athletic hanging out with us. I want to talk about their next opponent, of course, which is the Cincinnati Bengals, their week 1 performance, what you've kind of seen from them, and the talk off the field that's going on there. That's coming up next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing roofer roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR and Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR and Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play roofer roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer? You want the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. That's KCPI, the Kansas City Proton Institute. KCPI has a full suite of the most advanced imaging and treatment technology necessary to localize high-intensity proton beams. That's a critical part of maximizing cure rates while minimizing recovery time and long-term side effects. Proton therapy provides patients with the most advanced form of radiation treatments for cancer. It destroys cancer cells with supreme accuracy, reducing the risk of harmful side effects. KCPI has Kansas City's first and only system that uses pencil beam technology, resulting in precision targeting and less radiation to your surrounding healthy tissue. Proton therapy is now available in the comfort of an office at KCPI, making it more efficient and affordable than a hospital. So contact KCPI for the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. Don't wait. Get precision technology with the highest safety measures with KCPI. Online at kcpi.com.
Phones aren't wired to the wall anymore. We carry them in our pockets. Cars can even drive themselves, right? Technology advances have changed our lives.
That's football legend Emmitt Smith.
Some of the most fascinating advances are happening with the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. I'm talking about natural regenerative treatments for joint pain without surgery or harmful drugs.
Tens of thousands of patients have discovered these breakthroughs firsthand at QC Kinetics. With over 100 board-certified providers across the country, they're transforming the world of pain treatment using your body's own healing properties to help restore your aching joints.
Why would you keep going back to the old tired ways of treating chronic joint pain? Check out the latest advances at QC Kinetics. And here's an idea for you. You can call them on that smartphone right there in your pocket.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Fall's coming. You have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve, so this fall make a plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights, open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Again, Scent Beat story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard
His ear said Maraca, senor, but his nose said, hey, freshest scent ever. Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing. Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain scent beads. Try Gain scent beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz and Jay Binkley every Thursday in September starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com.
Back here, we got Nate Taylor in studio with us on Cody and Gold. He's presented by Mark Ferguson. We all make mistakes. Let Mark and his legal team make the best of them. 816-221-1750.
If anything comes from that alarm situation, I'm going to give my
You
boy
might
Mark
be,
Ferguson
you
a
might
call.
be needing to call up Mark.
I was teaching yesterday, Nate, and I set an alarm off. I have the code for it. Like, they gave me a key to the room, but they didn't tell me the code.
Yes.
And you ran away.
And I just walked away. I was like a kid breaking a glass in a store. I'm like, I'm just going to get away from this situation. Surely somebody will figure this code out eventually because it ain't going to be me.
Did you look straight into the camera and just say,
Did you wave? Yeah.
just want you to know, I tried.
I don't know the code to this. I just got I think I was just technically, I've only been like an official employee for like 2 days. I mean, I've been teaching the class for 3 weeks.
Nate, the background check took a little longer.
Got a deeper dive on that one, you know?
Yeah, a couple hiccups. Is that what you had?
I got myself Rasheed's attorney to clean some of that up for me, you know? Him and Jerry Jones guy take care of me. That's a good attorney. That man.
You're not going to see me again, boys. And we'll get back to you next year.
Yeah.
Wait, what is
Mr.
that?
We've brought up that guy's name.
We can continue that. We can just continue. Just another continuous. Get out of my face.
That's Mr. West, I believe it is, down in
Yes,
old
Royce.
Dallas.
Mr. Royce
West. That's he's like a Texas state senator.
Yes.
I mean, the guy.
I have an election to run.
Yeah. He was listed as one of the 5 most powerful people in Texas. Do you know how big Texas is?
Yeah.
5 most powerful people in Texas.
He's a state senator. He's been around for a while. He represented Jerry Jones, as you said. He's very influential.
Yeah. What's the issue? Yeah, we'll get that.
Nothing. I'd get the best lawyer if I had that kind of money, too.
If you've got the money, it's amazing what can happen for you. It's amazing. You know?
The old lady, what is it? The lady with the pendulums, the way, the lady justice. Yeah. Yeah, that's an even
swings different.
That's an even scale for sure. Yeah.
Were you speaking of justice, Tyreek's incident? How messy.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you look at the cam footage, there is plenty of blame
What are we
on
doing?
the off. Like, it's just I don't know.
Doing?
So I don't think it needed, and we said at the time before we got the camp, it was never going to need to go down the way that it did.
No, of course not.
But also, Tyreek is a magnet for this stuff. I don't know what, in this case, I don't think it's his fault.
No.
But, like, I don't know what it is about, like, he is just in a headline every 5 seconds. But in this case, it's like.
That is true.
But in this case, it's like, what was he supposed to do?
Yeah, the issue at the marina with the guy, you know.
Yeah,
so he's always around. Like, it's never as simple as this, but if you were, like, to divvy up the percentage of how the whole situation played out, like, I would say like 30 to 40% is Tyreek.
Can I make one joke? Now
Sure.
that
Yeah.
we all know
Yeah.
nothing terrible happened because we were trending that way. The joke that I found in all of this is that's an elite roll up of the window. An elite roll up. I'm sorry, what?
But that's like
as he says, I'm sorry.
Right.
What?
Yeah, it's. Like, I know
but also,
we always.
That's an elite roll up of the window.
Look,
where the guy's like, hey, you know, knocking on it, and he's like, I don't want to hear you anymore.
Look, in all seriousness, like it's never, it's never, as I said, this simple. But it truly is a situation like.
You could talk to the man. Although he did approach him hostile.
He did.
Which we all know.
Like, I know you feel like on situations like this, because social media does this to everybody, it's like if you say one thing, everybody expects it's got to be 100% one way or the other on this. I think, obviously, could he have handled himself better with the window situation? Did he, with as dark tinted as his windows were and everything? Yeah, he could have handled that better.
Were drag him out of the car?
The joke is funny because it's like you can't do that. But also,
you can't do that. But on the other side,
if you're gonna do it, God, that's a great way to do it.
So he's, so he was speeding. Should he have not rolled the window up when your windows are tinted that dark? There's a safety issue for the officers. Yep. I think that's all true.
Correct.
I also think it's true that immediately you could tell with the body cam footage, one, if not two of the officers at minimum, were just overly on a power trip.
Yeah.
So it's blame
so
all the way
high?
around. I don't think
it's 9:30 on a Sunday.
Relax.
What are we doing?
I will say the funniest part of because it's generally not a funny incident.
Correct.
But did you see the one clip after he's going back and the cops he's like, "Hey man, do you know who that is?" And he's like, he said, no. He said, that's one of the Dolphins' biggest stars. He went, yes. Like, oh man, my day just got worse.
Things gonna get hot. Yeah. So look.
Yeah. That's all. We didn't have to get buried. We can talk Bengals.
Right. It's just funny to me because I think Tyreek is smart enough to know I'm not supposed to do that right now. Yeah. But also, let me roll my window up real quick.
He said it mid-sentence, like, okay, yeah.
And I'm sorry. Like, why are you yelling at me again at 9:30 in the morning when it's when I think most people will say, whether you're an athlete or not, or if you're just, a normal person, hey, like, okay, clearly I have violated some traffic issue. Yeah. I have pulled over. Cool. Usually you roll the window down and the officer says, hey, it's some version of what the hell? Hey, man, did you know how fast you're going? Or, hey, you may have turned lanes, or, obviously we'll see the entire incident report. But, I mean, my man rolled up to him like he had done something criminal related. And you're just no, that's supposed to be which is a reflection of our society. It's supposed to be just a normal traffic stop. Like, was I speeding? Well, then my bad. Like,
cut me a ticket.
Yes. Like, hey, did I switch the wrong lane? Did I run a light? I don't know. But like, hey, man, I might be running a little late. I'm trying to get to like that building over there. That's the stadium. But the hostility was just like, again, like,
like any incident, then you have people putting out incorrect information as well. Like, I mean, someone, I just saw it on the text line. I heard he was going 103. No, that was a BS thing. For whatever reason, somebody on some certain outlet put it out there, and then everybody on certain sectors of Twitter ran with it. He was going 60 miles an hour. There's a big difference.
Right. I'm like, but even if he was going 103 miles an hour, he pulled over.
Yeah, 103 probably, doesn't prompt, to me, there is a difference between going 103 and 60, but he wasn't going 103.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, you've obviously told him to pull off. Yeah. He has pulled off. Now you've approached him or her, and you say, hey, can, like...
license and Reddit, let's
just go through the... Like, it's supposed to be routine. None of what we saw on camera was routine.
Were you surprised? So we were talking about the spread earlier because every single game between Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow has been decided by exactly 3 points one way or the other. Doesn't matter who wins the game. Every single game has been decided by exactly 3 points between the two of them. Last year's game was an 8-point game. It was Jake Browning. Just the games between Mahomes and Burrow have been 3 points.
Gotcha.
They watched them play against bookmakers, sharps, whoever. Public money. They watched one game against the Patriots, and that thing went from 3.5 or 3 to 6 points in a hurry. Should the Chiefs be favored by that much against this Cincinnati team? And watching what they did on Sunday, and I'm sure you've watched some of what Cincinnati did.
Yeah.
Are they really that much worse than we thought going into the season?
They looked undisciplined in every phase of the game. And so could they have been overlooking the New England Patriots? Sure. It's a home game. It's at, noon, 1 o'clock. You've had this issue going on with Jamar Chase, but hey, he's on the field.
Yeah.
Why, like, okay. Okay, you know what? Bad half, fellas. Bad half. Get our heads on straight.
Yeah, get that touchdown, 13-7. That's what I thought they were going to win.
This will be a double-digit win, fellas. Just you know what? Bad half. It happens. Let's just get our minds right. I'm sorry, what? Like, you guys never, like, they were just so undisciplined. And I think that does happen to some degree in the NFL just because, one team is extremely focused. It's their coach's first game in Gerard Mayo. Clearly had a good game plan. They were sound. They didn't make any stupid mistakes that an underdog on the road can do sometimes.
That's the other part of that Cincy game. They were
at home. They were at home, and they were just woefully, I wouldn't say unprepared. They were just woefully undisciplined, whether it was penalties, the sacks, the turnovers to some degree. I mean, what we are understanding, and I guess if we think that they're going to be more focused, they're going to have more desperation, more urgency, I should say, because they're 0-1. Just look at the depth chart, because I did this earlier today while I was watching, Red Zone, getting my, amazing Sunday off. Yeah, man, they ain't got nobody good in the secondary.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. Like Von Bell.
They spend so much time trying to fix the trenches, and they're not very good on the defensive line. But
no, I mean, they're fine. They're fine.
Hendrickson, obviously. Is.
Yeah, they're fine.
He's carrying a lot of water.
Right.
Sure.
I love Trey Henderson, love Logan Wilson. Even Jermaine Pratt's had very good moments. But, I mean, who is their best? I mean, Von Bell's 29. I mean, he's fine.
It's okay.
Dak Hill has not turned out to be the player I thought he was going to be coming into the draft. Mike Hilton, he's 30. I mean, their secondary was not impressive against, an offense that's not particularly dynamic. So now I add Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, maybe the likelihood of Hollywood Brown being in the mix, Rice, Pacheco. I can understand why, even though you only gave up 16 points to the New England Patriots, that ain't going to be the same assignment as playing the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's really going to be up to Joe Burrow to not take as many sacks. They got to get Jamar Chase involved, but obviously in a better manner. It was just weird. Zach Moss is
why was he the leading back?
He is I was just about to say, he is a legitimate big time contributor, Drew. Zach Moss.
He should just be their goal line guy.
Yeah, why isn't Chase Brown?
I thought Chase Brown. I think between Jamar Chase and Chase Brown, they touched the ball 12 times combined, 85 yards, but the sample size was more for Zach Moss than Chase Brown out of the backfield. So that was
I don't understand. I'm looking at the box score again because I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. And one of the things I love to do on NFL Plus, if you have it or whatever, you just watch the game from a condensed standpoint. So you just breeze through it in 30 minutes. And 15 minutes in, I'm like, these dudes were just sorry today. They were so
Never
bad.
got a rhythm.
Never got in rhythm.
They didn't get a first down, Nate, until 10 minutes left in the second quarter, I don't think.
Burrow walked himself into 2 sacks.
Yes.
I'm not even saying it was an offensive.
He was dropping his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. So they were just very undisciplined. And so, hey, get your fundamentals right. Come up with something sexy from a game plan standpoint because, guys, I have to remind everybody, Jacoby Brissett, capable quarterback. He went 15 of 24 for 121. He was throwing to Austin Hooper, J.K. Osborne, Hunter Henry.
I'm not even convinced those are real.
And they controlled the entire game.
Yes! I mean, come on!
That's why it got to 6.
Yeah, so it's totally understandable. But that will I assume that won't be the same Bengals team Sunday out at Arrowhead.
I'm with you. Yeah, I think we would all be stunned if that's the case. In the AFC West, just get your thoughts there. I said nothing. Nothing.
Cody, it's 1 week.
So look, I do think there's.
It's over.
It's over. I do think they're sweeping the AFC West. I said that before the season. I saw nothing on Sunday that changed my opinion about any of the teams. The Raiders. They'll surprise someone with Gardner Minshew at some point with a game. The Broncos don't look any different. They have a rookie quarterback. And to me, the Chargers, J.K. Dobbins was really impressive. That's the only thing I'm like, okay.
Got some burst.
J.K. Dobbins looked pretty good. Other than that, they played the Raiders. Did anything happen out of the AFC West teams where you're like, okay, maybe I got to pay more attention?
No,
I
want to pay attention to Bo Nix. That's what I want to do.
Those yards per or average depth of target was unbelievable.
He threw 12 passes over 10 yards, Nate. 12?
Yes.
He went 2 of 12 with 2 interceptions.
And one of them was truly like when the broadcasters are like, "Son, don't do it." And we got the rare "oh no" before the ball got intercepted.
That's a Rex Hudler moment. Oh no.
Where the kid, I knew what he was trying to do. Okay, things are getting a little hairy in the pocket. I'm gonna figure it out. Hey, that's my guy. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. This is not the SEC. This definitely ain't the Pac-12.
You should have already thrown it.
Yes, the moment you release that ball, that man is no longer open. And so it's just fun to watch rookie quarterbacks experience that. And man, Bo Nix going to experience a lot of things this year because you could tell he was like confident. He was like, okay, I'm ready to go. He's open. He's doing the right thing. He's meeting me at the sideline.
You don't have that amount of time.
Oh yeah, baby. It's what in the hell? And it was 3 dudes that converged on the ball.
That was only the second best one because Will Levis putting his hands on the head, going to his knees after throwing an interception was better than that.
The Bears had no business
winning that game. If I was, what's Brian Callahan? I would have choked him on the sideline immediately. Son, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It's the only thing you can't do.
Yes, just eat the sack. Sometimes you would tell quarterbacks, eat the football. It's okay. You'll get another down. You'll get another drive. It's only the third quarter, son. What are you doing?
Did you hear him after the game? That was his comments after the game where we could have punted on first down and won that game.
Yeah, but he's wrong
That's
there because
how bad they were on
was,
offense, according.
Their punt was blocked for a touchdown.
One punt was blocked for a touchdown, yes. Yeah, that was a chaotically fun game, obviously, Bears versus Titans. In terms of Raiders-Chargers, hey, what we do know is Jim Harbaugh can coach.
Sure.
Yeah. And so he's never going to put, one thing that I know a lot of people have said, and I'm not going to disagree, is like, hey, that looks like a defense that wants to hit and tackle people.
That's not the Chargers I'm used to.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Like, hey, they might get overwhelmed from a, upfront standpoint, because I still think Max Crosby was excellent in that game. Max Crosby was terrifying Justin Herbert. So they're not great in the trenches, but they're not going to get, overwhelmed a ton. It'll be different, obviously, with Chris Jones in the backfield. But, hey, Justin Herbert, man, just I think what Jim Harbaugh is going to try to get this young man to understand, and I get it because we've seen it before, is, look, young fella, you got all the talent in the world. But also, we ain't got nobody to throw it to. So you know what we're going to be doing a lot of times? 17 to 26. I don't want you throwing 30 times in any game this season. We want every game to be close. We want every game to be...
We'll give you your moment late.
Yes. And them stats, they ain't going to be popping off the screen the way they used to. So Jim Harbaugh's not going to let the Chargers beat themselves, which was so much of their character over the last 5 to 6 years.
You could put that on their, under their banner for their franchise.
Yes.
Chargers beat themselves. That's pretty much what they've done for their entire history.
I still think, I think next year there'll be a real factor.
Correct.
This year, their roster's too thin and everything. Before we let Nate go, I do want to play this. Awkward moments in broadcasting, they happen sometimes. They do. But Michael Kay, the great voice of the Yankees, and John Flaherty yesterday, Royals, Yankees, of course. The Royals are in the Bronx. Listen to this conversation between the two. This was a real conversation on their broadcast yesterday.
You weren't very talkative on the bus this morning to the field, but as I was driving here, I was thinking it'd be great to get a place that's close. You can walk back and forth. I know you mentioned Don Zimmer living out in the apartments out in center field. But I just had a lot of time to think on the team bus today because it was just very quiet.
So you'd rather me be chatty? I wasn't feeling great.
I haven't seen you in a long time, right? You don't work road trips anymore when I'm on the road. So I thought we would catch up. But it quickly was evident that you weren't in the mood. So I gathered my thoughts about how it would be nice to live close to Wrigley, walk back and forth to the park.
Interesting narrative that you're putting together. Because I've been told by executives that you prefer to work with Russo. That's why you two guys are matched up all the time. I mean, that's just what I heard. I don't know if there's any truth to it.
I just put it together that the road trips you don't want to go on, that I end up working with Ryan Rucco because we're willing to work the games on the road.
Ground ball to short.
Yes!
Swanson. Listen, John, I don't make out my schedule. I go where I'm told.
Say something.
I'll be very chatty tomorrow.
No, I just want to make sure that you're okay. I was a little worried about you.
He left him
I think
out
you were
there.
worried that I
Oh
would
my
be talking
God! He left him out there
That
just
happened.
hanging.
That's
that
so
happened on Yes yesterday, I guess.
I don't think they're going to be working a game together later this year. I'll say that.
I don't know, man.
This is
I'll
on
be
TV.
more talkative tomorrow.
I believe this was on Yes.
This is on
their
TV.
Yankees TV broadcast yesterday.
Oh my God! That's so bad.
Really uncomfortable.
I'll be chatty tomorrow. Ooh.
I noticed you on the bus. You didn't want to chat.
That's an interesting narrative you're spinning there. I've been told you don't like working with me, and you're like, oh God.
I mean, hey man, is a woman between y'all? Is there a money issue we don't know about? Like,
Well, then he's like, when I actually go on the road trip, you don't do the road trips anymore.
yeah, he killed me on that one. I was like, ooh, he's saying you.
Some
you
of us
lazy.
travel.
Yeah, he's saying you soft.
For that to be an in-game conversation is insane. I'm trying to
Yeah,
watch the
there's a
Yankees
ground
game.
ground ball to
short.
it
The
was
one ground
definitely
ball
the
to short.
Castellanos to left
Yeah.
field. All right, Nate. Good to see you, man. Hope everybody has a good rest of their day. We're back at it tomorrow, 10 to 2 here on Cody and Gold.